started, or at least, well, it will start in a few seconds, but with this bit. So we are streaming. This now has worked.
Definitely streaming this time. You're not going to do a
I think so.
10-minute intro and then realise you've not hit record.
Yeah, so to everyone who is presumably listening to this, but potentially not, I was literally just explaining why this stream is going to be the jankiest thing you've ever seen in your entire life, mostly because I tried to make it nice and fancy and none of it worked, and so now it's like going to be really basic. And then John pointed out that I hadn't actually clicked go live, so for all of that, I was just talking to myself, which I think just adds to the jankiness of the whole thing. I mean, it's still not live on my phone, so we'll see.
Oh, something's happened on my computer.
Something's happened on your computer. Okay, great. So that
might be live.
Suggests that potentially we are now live.
Yes.
We are live. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, there we go. It starts to my phone as well now. Let me just turn that down. So, welcome everyone to Battle Camper and the jankiest stream you'll ever see. I hope you're all having a good day, and I'm very sorry indeed that we are a very unprofessional 11 minutes late to this stream. That is not
It's usual for you.
Sorry?
It's just usual for you at that point, really, isn't it? Just...
I think punctuality is not my main problem. My main problem is incompetence. Punctuality is a secondary issue to my incompetence.
Caused by the incompetence.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you about that. Okay. Well, today we're here, of course, to chat once again about the new upcoming models for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. We've got new plastics announced today, a new plastic one set, 2 models, dismounted and mounted. It's Wolf for the Dunland faction, which had confirmed to be one of the starting factions in the box set, which I think everyone had already guessed. I think, John, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the first plastic MESBG kit announced since Elrond in 2022.
I think so.
Which is nonsense. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of any others.
No, crazy stuff. So before we go to that model, let's just have a quick scrooge through chat. Nathan's here. It's all well. All is well. Nathan's here. It's all well. Okay, great. I've read that correctly. Tom's also tuned in. Please put a name and date on all sales posts. Great. I hope your new trading group is going well, Tom. Darren says good evening. Good evening to you. Glyn says good evening. Good evening to you as well. Nathan, which one of you is too drunk to appear?
I'm very loud, apparently.
You're very loud. All right, let's turn you down. Let's try speaking things for me.
Testing.
All right.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
I wonder whether you actually were that loud or whether people just don't,
Just don't want to listen.
Yeah. Rather, it'd be a one-sided conversation. Well, thank you for pointing that out. I've turned you way down. Hopefully that's good. Glyn wants to ask Alex's tech skills cast it into the fire or not.
Yes.
Well, the problem is you can't make. Glyn can make that joke. I don't think you've got the standing to make that joke because of your own tech skills.
Well, what's wrong with my tech skills?
Do we need to go over the microphone escapade again?
No, we don't need to.
No, we don't need to. We don't. I thought maybe we do need to go through the microphone escapade.
Also, I just blew up one of my RAM sticks by being an idiot as well. So that's fine.
I think.
Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on.
I fucking 2 full days set aside to edit, and then I went to edit and my computer blew up.
I can't even mark.
Fantastic.
That's the nightmare scenario. That is the nightmare scenario. Mark says a battle camper is never on time. Is not on time, nor is he early. He suffers technical issues precisely when he doesn't need them. Very much so. Tom,
I'm too quiet now.
You're too quiet, for God's sake. These people.
Is it just Tom, or is it like everyone else?
Yeah, everyone give us your.
These viewers.
Could you please rate John's volume on a out of 100%? So if he's got perfect volume, like it could not be a finer balance, 100%. If it's so out of whack, he's either deafening you or you can't hear him at all, 0%. And eventually we'll get to the perfect level. Oh God, Glyn says, can John be in charge of Cast It Into the Fire going forward? So for anyone who doesn't know, because most people won't, and we've already lost a few viewers talking about this, Cast It Into the Fire is our podcast, and John has been trying for about 4 episodes to cast wet pallets into the fire, basically saying he hates wet pallets, and I'm viscerally opposed to that. So put your wet pallet thoughts in chat right now. And let's crack on with the miniatures. Let me get a picture on screen. This is going to be a janky process as well because, again, I've not prepared, but bear with me. So let's go
Testing.
Warhammer Community. Let's go to the new Middle-earth previews. And let's get Mr. Wolf on screen right there. There he is. So, what do we think, John? What do you think of Wolf? By the way, he's covering your face because I don't have a choice, so I'm very sorry about that. So, what do you reckon of the new model? What do you think?
I like it. I like the mounted one. I think the foot one's a bit.
You're not a fan of the foot?
It's like leaning forward on just a tactical rocks. Just annoying me.
It's
just like it's a meme at this point, and I just does my head in.
Well, I think you're being unfair to him because he's also got a tactical shield right there.
Well, that's true. Also, he needs a helmet. He better have a helmet option.
I don't think you. I don't know. Whenever they've got long flowing hair.
Why do people not wear helmets in war games? It's mental. It drives me insane.
And what do you think about how? Because obviously what they've had to do is translate it from being a cartoon to being.
I think they've done really well. I think I think that fits with the range.
Agreed. I think the face looks great. I
like both. The Men of Carndom, like.
Yeah, I know you're not a fan of the Men of Carndom.
Do you mean the Warriors of Norskin or whatever?
The
Northern Waste
who don't wear any clothes? Yeah, those the ones. Yeah, I must admit, I didn't spot the leaning forward thing until everyone started pointing it out, and I think that's because I'd only seen him on my phone. And I thought he was in a running pose. I thought that he was, Naruto running, basically. So running as fast as he could and having to lean into it. And that was the reason for him leaning forward. But now everyone starts mentioning it, I realise he's not running at all. He's just, now seeing him on PC, he's just standing there, stationary. But yeah, with a big old lean going on. What do you think? Because he's sort of leaning into that strike with his left arm or right arm. Is that the idea that he's sort of...
It's just not a pose you would ever see in like fighting. It would be so disadvantaged to be like that.
Yeah.
Like the old Glorfindel model, it is beautiful, but the pose is just ridiculous. Nobody would ever fight like that.
Does that matter? How much
do you think
that matters?
A strike that like obvious is telegraphed, your opponent's just going to absolutely smash you.
So whenever you see a model that's not in a sort of realistic fighting pose, that's a negative for you necessarily.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I'm very fussy.
So what about
not saying I do love Glorfindel, even though it's ridiculous.
I mean, Glorfindel is gorgeous, a really, really gorgeous model. And that's what I was thinking of, where I would take a slightly less realistic pose in order to diversify the amount of poses they have available to them, because otherwise they're going to run short real quick,
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just as I'm getting older, the more and more historical games I play, the more I'm just like, wee.
Yeah, it's a respectable view. I'm not mocking it. When
I first started, I didn't really care at all. I was just like, that's amazing, love it. But things just start to, as I get older, I like to have those.
Yeah, fair enough. So, but mounted, you think mounted is on point? Let's have a look at him.
He's a helmet though.
I really don't think he's going to get one, I'm afraid. I agree, it'd be great to have a helmeted option too. But
I don't think anyone wears a helmet in the anime. They just run about fucking.
It's not even whether or not they wear it in the anime that I think means we're not getting one. You just look at the hair. It's so often when they do that like the hair that's like really integrated into the robes, into the clothing, like kind of it looks like it's going to be like flowing down the back. It just seems like they never. Understandably, it's difficult to.
How would you fit it on?
Yeah, switch it out. But yeah, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. I suppose because it's anime, it's going to be.
On as a helmet, I have my helmet.
Yeah.
Harry's been asked to let him, but I don't think we should let him in.
All right, so guys, yes, some of you are going to be expecting Mr. Harry Parkhill to join us, and
he's busy watching Rings of Power.
But he was busy watching Rings of Power. That's right, John. Sorry, I'm going to make
them.
John's face a little bit bigger. So he has to join a little bit late. He was also a bit confused as to whether or not we were starting at 8 or 8:30. But as Glyn points out, he's a celebrity drummer who wants to join, so we'd better let him in. So let's have him join the chat.
I do like the black. I really like the black colour scheme.
I just think the old model looks fantastic, generally, yeah. Right, we're now hello, Harry, welcome. You are on stream immediately, and I'm now going to try and rearrange our faces in real time to make this work. It's going to be really awkward. Can I F11 this? Oh, I can. There we go. That's going to make things a little bit easier. So you guys go down there. We can't hear you, Harry, I'm afraid.
Play your drums.
Play the drums. I'm going to put... Look at... This is the worst stream. When Harry streams, it's like this really nice professional setup. And this is just janky as all hell. Okay. Sorry. I'm just trying to find a way of putting our faces on the screen that makes any sense. And I think...
sake, man.
I know. I'm sorry. Right, we're going to put you guys up there.
Oh, wait, you can hear me?
Yeah, you've just arrived. Arrived. So that's one technical issue sorted. And then my face is going to come down. I don't know. We'll put me...
Hi, streamers. How's everyone doing?
I think they were doing better.
Shall I just take over?
That's a good idea. Right, here we go. So let's... Okay, I'm going to put my face there. I'm going to put you guys there. I tell you what I'm going to do to try and make this look a little bit less janky. I can't believe people are having to watch this in real time. This is just
goodness.
Fucking...
I've just flicked over to YouTube to see what chaos is happening, and it is chaotic.
It's just
rightfully so.
I'm so sorry.
It's just like this like screen moving around.
And it was 8 o'clock, and I was still trying to sort out my technology, and now this is the crap. People are like,
so you know when I said to you, shall we push it back a bit so that I can watch the Rings of Power?
I didn't want to let people. I didn't want to delay people. Justice delayed is justice denied, Harry.
Yeah, fair enough.
This stuff.
Is this really justice?
No, it's no. I know you make a very fair point. Right. Okay. Right. We're gonna leave you guys like that. And then...
I woke up from a migraine curing nap for this.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. And then we're gonna move my face down a bit, so I'm sort of at the bottom of the screen like that. There we go. That'll do.
Shall I just talk about how awesome the first episode of Rings of Power was?
I think no, because that's what's the one thing we talked about. This is not a Rings of Power review. You've got.
I think it should be though. It should be.
You've got a strict.
The worst thing I've ever seen.
You've got until I finish arranging our faces and make sure you keep it spoiler free. And then
absolutely. And John is going to be really angry about Rings of Power because he is just an irrational hatred of it. I've been rewatching the first series, and I'll be honest. The first time I watched the first series, I was kind of. I was a bit on the fence about it. I did enjoy bits of it, but I thought overall it was a very inconsistent series and a bit slow. And there were lots of bits that I thought could have been massively improved. And on the second watch, I think I embraced it a bit more and I've enjoyed it. Yes, there are still bumps and it's not perfectly written, particularly. The pacing is well off. But I must say, I've just watched the first episode of the second series and
it was awful.
It's awesome. Shut up, John. That was my...
All right. I finished arranging the faces, sort of.
So... I was just about to say it's awesome. And John, you're allowed to have your opinion.
I'm going back to bed to cure my head.
I don't know how you couldn't have enjoyed that. There was lots of suspense.
The elves act like children.
It was dramatic and exciting, and actually made sense as a dramatic construct. I don't give a shite if your elven babies aren't protected properly or whatever it is.
Weird,
strict ground laws, guys, about how we were going to engage in this conversation. And
go on.
I'm disturbed and shocked to see that they've been violated already. John, you might want to angle your camera slightly different because I put Wolf's head over your head. We can now only see from your eyes upwards, and it's a bit disturbing, to be honest. The whole stream is a bit disturbing. But Harry, I mean, I'm very glad that you enjoyed Rings of Power.
Yes.
Not because I think I will. I don't know whether I will, although I didn't particularly like the first season. But because I'm glad that you're happy. When you're happy, I'm not happy, but I'm happier than I would be if you were sad. So...
It's so bad.
Okay, I'm trying to make it wholesome. John, re-angle.
You know what, John? You're just bringing everyone down.
Don't engage
him.
Don't engage him.
You stop spoiling everyone else's fun. Look at this.
I've had a horrific migraine today, so maybe that's why I'm so angry. But it's so bad.
John, you're always quite angry. Let's face it.
Yeah, that was just
so I'm just getting the trash out.
I was really reserved about the first season, and I wasn't angry. But
okay,
in the hope that this one would be better, but it's just.
I'm ceasing all dialogue. In new style American debate rules, I'll mute your microphones if there is any more talk of the Rings of Power.
Okay, fair enough.
Harry, a big welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
so much for
Yes,
joining us.
apologies. I realised it was very selfish of me to be late for the stream after everyone was, I assume, excited for the stream, and I just decided
that's not
not
to say. I wouldn't make that assumption.
Well, no, but I did say I would be here, and I incorrectly thought that we'd be here at 8:30 because I think you originally said 8:30, and then I responded to that message by saying 8 is fine, and then I remembered your request rather than my own request. So,
I think it was a breakdown in communication on both sides. I accept my fair share of the blame. What I will say is that it's good that you're here now. And I think John made the much safer assumption, which is that nobody cares. So it really does. In the grand history of the cosmos, Harry Parkhill being late to the Battle Camper 29th of August 2024 stream by 25 minutes is not going to make a blind bit of difference. John, I'm giving you one final notice. If you want to angle your camera so that your face is more on display, this is your time to do so. Otherwise, you'll be hidden behind Wolf in perpetuity. John, also big welcome. I didn't actually say welcome to you. Thank you very much indeed for being here. I know you've been ill, and I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but I'm really glad that you're here.
I had to cancel a game today. I was going to play like a brand new elf army. I painted a full new army to play a game, and then I got fucking...
and the pictures are based on from what your army is based on the Rings of Power, isn't it?
Harry, I will have to kick you out. I will have to kick you out. You just come here. Look at that shit-eating grin on your face. You just came here to bait him.
I did a bit, yeah. No, to be fair, they were lovely models. They do look a bit like the Rings of Power, but I realised they're not aimed for that, so it's fine. But anyway, yeah. Sorry, you were talking about. Go on. What have I missed?
We've just talked about the wolf miniature. We've got him mounted. We've got him on foot. John's view was that mounted, he's all gravy, but he hopes there's a helmeted option, although we agree that seems unlikely. On foot, John is not so happy because he's sort of leaning forward on his big tactical rock, which is something I hadn't really spotted when I first saw him on my phone, but I do actually now think it's a bit of a lean going on, but I do actually like both models.
Have you seen the someone's done a meme about it looking a bit like Michael Jackson in Smooth Criminal?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. That is quite funny. I mean, I really like the model. I think it's honestly, I was amazed at how nice it was. It looks like a really solid interpretation of what we've seen only from a trailer, granted, but what we've seen from the trailer makes Wolf look pretty cool. I don't remember a lot of detail about the Helm Hammerhand story, so I don't remember the character very well, but because it's only like a couple of pages in the appendices from memory, but. I think he looks really cool. I see your point. It would make more historical sense for him to have a helmet, but and armor. Yeah, but he's done lending. I don't know. I can get on board with it. Just it's one of those things, isn't it? That heroes in games just don't have helmets because we want to be able to see their faces and paint their faces, and that's fine. I think it looks really cool. I do really like the sort of woolly fur sort of saddle thing, and then the sort of vague attempt at barding on the back of the sort of like the bum, basically.
It is
and
a
the cool helmet.
attempt.
It's just cool. Yeah, there's a bit of a mixture. Good stuff.
I also like.
It's plastic.
Yes, and it's plastic.
I mean, Harry, you're correct. So I was saying I think this is the first plastic MESBG kit since Elrond in 2022. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I think it must be. Yeah,
Terrain excluded.
Yeah, I'd say it must be because there hasn't been anything since then other than hold on, wait, which one was first? Was Elrond and then Osgiliath, or was it the other way around?
It was. That's you absolutely right. It was Elrond and then Osgiliath.
They might have all been at the same time.
Yeah.
No. They were announced at the same time. That's true, but Osgiliath came out afterwards.
Right.
Did it? Okay. Either way, it's been ages. Let's put it that way.
So very, very welcome, and of course we've got loads more coming as well. Okay, guys. So let's have. I'm going to go to chat. Put your thoughts about the Wolf model in chat. I'd love to get some of your opinions as well, because it means we've got less to do. Karen says, looks like Wolf has turkey teeth. Turkey teeth.
I don't know what a turkey teeth is.
No, you might have to, Cameron, you might have to... I'm gonna
Is
make
that like the buck teeth?
Oh, there is the teeth that like celebrities get from Turkey. They're like really white.
So
like not like animal teeth, but like... Yeah, the ones that look super white.
Turkey with an E.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They do look a bit like that.
He's got a very big mouth, so you feel like you take care of his oral hygiene in order to ensure that when he opens his mouth to scream, he's looking his best. So I think that makes sense. What else we got? Ben says hi, Harry. He doesn't say hi to any of the rest of us, but he just says hi.
Hi, Ben.
Harry. Let's make Wolf small again. Glyn says Harry will save us. Oh, not likely, mate.
Thanks.
Even fuck you and Glyn. Darren says, "Evening, Harry." My God, all the Harry stands in this evening, and it's driving me up the wall. To be honest,
it's just great. It's great to hear everyone's excited.
They're all like, "Can we get this back on Entmoot, please?" Because Tom says, "An evening of watching YouTubers bouncing around the screen like a DVD pause menu."
God, can you remember playing that when he
in the
corner? Yes. That was
my
perfect.
God, yeah, it made me come. Grimdorp Future says, "I cannot find the words to describe how utterly on brand this is." That's a savage insult, and
it really
I appreciate it. Mark O'Brien says, "Have a head in each corner of the screen, and then we get Wolf as the fourth streamer." Yeah, he's got. I mean, if anyone's going to have some interesting reflections about whether or not this model reflects the true Wolf, it's going to be Wolf. So I think that's appropriate. Fat Hopper Gaming says, "Good evening all. One age to live in, a new edition of the game, and now Lord of the Rings content to watch. It feels like 2003 all over again."
It's not Lord of the Rings content.
Oh, come on, John.
Rings of Power is not Lord of the Rings.
It's Middle Earth.
We're talking about War of the Rohirrim.
Oh, it's okay.
Middle Earth. It's all Middle Earth. It's all gravy.
You are having a migraine day, aren't you?
Yeah, I did.
Glyn says, "John, I'm on your side. Episode 1 was awful, but 2 and 3 slightly better."
Wow!
Have they released? Have they done that thing where they splurge out a whole bunch of the first?
Yeah, they've done the first 3.
I don't think I'm going to watch it anymore. My wife doesn't want to watch it anymore either, so.
Really?
I'm not going to sit and watch it.
You know what?
She absolutely hates it.
Is it genuinely because you're just you're a big fan of the books,
Glyn, what have you
the lore, and all that sort of stuff, and that you don't like how it doesn't match, or are you just thinking it's a bad TV series?
Both.
Because I can understand understand criticism from the first category. The second, I just cannot. I will.
Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm just reviewing the schedule here.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and it appears that this conversation is not in the schedule.
We said we were getting comments from the
chat
watchers who were excited to talk about it. So
chat is exempt from the schedule.
Okay.
But what I will say is, if anyone in chat further stokes this conversation, you'll be banned forever. Nathan says Alex is definitely in control of proceedings. I don't think anyone's in control of proceedings. He also says episode 2 is the best of the 3, but I enjoyed them all.
Excellent. Man of my heart. Thanks, Nathan.
Thoughts on Wolf? I like the model, but I'm a bit confused about what they're done lending.
Very clever. What have they been lending to folks?
Oh, bloody hell.
I get it. That is a good joke.
I get it now. It was actually quite good, and I was just too slow to understand it. Sean, absolutely love the new Wolf model. Really excited, and hopefully we'll see Helm's Sons in the box. Helm's Guard is my favourite army, so I'm ready to add them to the collection. Yeah, so this is my big question. We're going to get to it in a moment. We're going to do some predictions. So maybe hold those for the moment. But I'm really glad that there was so much positivity for this model, which is really nice.
Yeah, it is really.
Anders, I've been binging Battle Camper over the last month or so, and I was happy to hear about the new edition, just as I was trying to convince myself to start playing. Well, I'm really glad that you've been enjoying the content. Well, actually, don't say you've been enjoying the content. It could be hate watching for all I know. But I'm gonna
just like the rest of us. Yeah.
Sometimes, Harry, it really hurts to. But on the assumption that you are not just doing it as a sort of act of cinemasochism, then I'm really glad, and hopefully it will continue to live up to your expectations. Tom from Rogue Dice says, it reminds me of Dark Oath from Age of Sigmar. I think with alternate colour scheme it will look even better. It does have a Dark Oathy vibe. I don't know if you guys have seen those. So those are the Chaos, non-Chaos warriors, non-armoured warriors. They're the sort of chaosy tribes, the lesser followers of the Chaos Gods in Age of Sigmar. Maybe we'll find a couple of those miniatures.
Isn't that what we all made fun of the men of Carndom for?
Yeah, they look like the
I don't think in proportions. I don't think in proportions, but I think let's have a look at this horse. I'm going to make him big again. What I'm going to do.
Sorry, I've just googled Dark Oath army set, and there's a picture on the Slaves to Darkness Dark Oath army set of a guy that looks like the happiest slave barbarian man in the world. He's got such a shit-eating grin on his face. I've no idea what's going on there, but it's very amusing.
Well, you drop a link and I'll put it on the screen for us all.
Yes, I will do that. I will do that.
So, Treadhead's Workshop says, afternoon all from Kansas City, USA. Bloody hell, what time is it there? Welcome from Kansas City, USA. I hope you're having a good day over there as well.
Imagine it's around midday there.
Of course, yeah, that's how time works. Promethean Painting says, hate Rings of Power, hate Wet Palettes. Just when I thought I was going to like you. Hate Tactical Rocks, love helmets, simple as. So this, Promethean Painting, there's nothing really for you to like today then, is there?
I think he's quoting John in that. Or that, or she, or they. I assume he, because most people watching this probably are. But eight, because the 8 is the apostrophe 8. That's got to be a quote for J Max.
Is it?
Scott accent, surely, right?
Promethean Painting, is this you agreeing violently with John, or is this you impersonating John? Because that's a really important
It's very
distinction.
Northern English thing, is it not? I hate Rings of Power. I hate Wet Palettes.
It does sound a lot like you though. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So well done, Promethean Painting.
Well, I don't know. He didn't call anyone a ball bag, so I don't really know.
That's true.
Ted Head's Workshop then says, really hoping this is a new plastic starter set with Rohan Dunlending. Yeah, we'll get to predictions in just a moment, but I think there's going to be a lot of talk about whether we're getting new plastic warriors for the first time in however many decades. Darren Warner says, great model, love the design, and can't wait for more releases. Yep, I agree completely. Hopefully we're going to see, hopefully weekly teasers now. It's only a few months. They've got a lot to get through. If they do these releases in the same way as they did 40k, Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, then you get the announcement of the box set, and then you get some teasers of the models, and then you get some teasers of the rules, and articles about like design and things like that. And before you know it, the months are eaten up, and we're at release date. So fingers crossed. John Pockets.
I was going to ask, why are our cameras like so zoomed in?
Oh, have you only just started watching the stream? Because I'm an idiot, all right? Is that what you want to hear?
Oh.
Because I'm a fucking moron.
It's like hello, my name is John.
You're not zoomed in per se. It's just I've had to find a way of getting you two to. So look, you're in the you're on the Google chat, and I've just had to try and find a way to crowbar you both in, and this was the best way I could find to do it. Not a good way, just the best way. So yeah, the screens are sort of really uncomfortably filled with your faces, whereas mine actually, I think is quite a good ratio, quite a good proportion.
Exactly, because you've clearly done it right for you, but then. Well, I see, right? Because you're using your thing.
I'm a total moron.
I can't speak today. My brain's fucked.
It's all right. It's all good. It's good job. You can just sit there and look. Well,
unwell.
Promethean Painting says, taking the piss, don't worry. The model looks great, and I'm firmly in the wet palette camp. Oh, you're back in my good books.
Excellent, great work, Promethean.
Yeah,
I picked it up straight away.
You did, Harry. Well done. Very perceptive. Everyone who is in the chat should go to Promethean Painting's page and subscribe now because they are a sensible person. Grimdorp Future says, nothing against wet palettes, just don't like them. Fair enough. Not like John, who, without having used one.
Again, I think you're not picking up on these people taking the piss out of John. Surely.
Oh, Grimdorp Future, you're gonna. Well, I don't know. I disagree on this. I think he actually doesn't like them, but we will. You've got an opportunity to clarify now, Grimdork. Are you truly in the?
I love it.
In the anti-wet pellet camp or not?
I think everyone has taken against John because he has an irrational hatred of everything, including Rings of Power, and now finally everyone's turning on him.
Harry,
is that right?
just because I'm policing the conversation on Rings of Power, don't feel like you've got an ally in me here.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, I'm absolutely buzzing after having watched it. So
Half your tits.
Yeah, but then I've seen you see like a balloon. You're buzzing after that as well. So
yeah, I do like balloons, to be fair.
Or a windmill. Andrew Grove says, oh no, wait. Johnny J says, would you guys recommend waiting for the new stuff to start playing or to get a rulebook that's out now? I have thoughts on this, but you guys go first. What do you reckon?
John?
Don't make me do hard things. That's a hard call. Do you have a friend that has a copy?
That would be my shout. I'd try and find someone who has a copy. I mean, you could probably get a second-hand one fairly cheap because people are offloading them at the moment. But
Yeah,
I genuinely, I'd avoid a rule book specifically for the moment. Play the game, get some tips, watch some videos, and all that sort of stuff. But wait until the box set comes out for an actual rule book because it's going to be so out of date so quickly that it's probably just not worth it.
Agreed. And also, we don't know what models
to
being
tell
replaced.
that to all the people that are going to buy the Angmar book.
Yeah, but people who are buying the Angmar book should know what they're getting in for.
Yeah.
You say that not everyone reads Warhammer Community or is on the Facebook groups.
Well, you know what? I was talking to the store owner in Lincoln, where I usually get stuff from, and he specifically said to me the other day, because I was trying to pre-order it through them, as he always did, to get some discount, and he was like, "Oh no, Games Workshop aren't letting any independent stores order it, so they don't overstock, and to try and essentially avoid a pile of Angmar books being put on a shelf somewhere and being kind of just there and tricking people into it. I mean, it may just be because they want to maximize their sales via the website, but I could sort of see his point. It's like, oh yeah,
well, because if people returned it, they'd have to pay.
Maybe it's that, yeah. But they sort of, so everything's going through the website. So I think you probably, I don't know. I think people who are buying the Angmar book probably know. I've read Warhammer Community, but maybe I don't know. Maybe.
Well, in any event, I think that's good advice. I certainly wouldn't be investing heavily at this stage. We don't know what's going to be replaced. We don't know. We're about to get a new rulebook. If you can play with friends, great. Otherwise, maybe pick up a kit. What I would do, I think, in this situation is pick up a kit that I know is sticking around, like one of the new plastics from a faction that I like, and get into painting that. And start painting. Yeah. But even the starter sets, some of those troops we don't know. We just don't know how extensive. I suppose if you
I think if you got like the Isengard battle host or something like that, it's going to be pretty safe.
I suppose that's very true. I think get some kits that we know aren't immediately going to be upgraded and paint up, and then you'll feel like you're prepared and ready for the new edition when it comes out. Which is another, preparing for the new edition is actually another thing we're chatting about in a little bit. Andrew Grove says, oh no, here we go. No, we've missed some wet palette content.
Oh, come on, we've got to get that on.
Yeah, everyone. That's what everyone's here for. Oh my god, there's bloody loads of it. Right, we'll do a few more, and then we're gonna get on to the next topic in just a moment. So, Andrew Grove says, "Hey guys, love the podcast. You're doing a great job with your chaotic nonsense. Thank you. At least it's not universally loathed part of the brand.
Absolute nonsense.
It is not. I mean, the podcast is definitely nonsense. I find it really hard to recommend it to anyone.
I recommend it. I think it's really good. I actually enjoy it.
That's very kind.
And I don't just hate listening to it, although I have
on occasion. John Plunkett says, you didn't read my comments. John interrupted you with miserable pish. Go back and read it. Oh my god. All right, John. Oh, it's a lovely one as well. Hi, Alex. I like Battle Camper. More, please. You can make up naval MESPG battles on the fly like a champ. Thank you very much. I was very pleased, and Harry's got to take some of the credit there for a really wonderful event.
To be fair, I mean, all I did was invite people to an event, and Chris brought the terrain, and you guys made a great game.
No, I don't think that's right. So Chris did an absolutely marvellous job. Chris Cooper made some really, really wonderful terrain. So anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, we did some naval warfare at a tournament, which is a really bizarre thing, of course, because we basically we said we're not going to play the TO's scenario, Harry being the TO, and we're like, we've got this really cool piece of terrain which had a ship on it and a sort of harbour representing the Grey Havens. And we thought, and I had elves, so we're going to do, escape the Grey Havens kind of thing. And we had to figure out some rules of how to sail the boat. And the fact that all that could happen at an event is only because the event's ethos and vibe was so very chill. So it was a really cool thing. And of course, if you want to watch the video, it's on my channel. But otherwise, we'll crack on. John Plunkett then says, Battle Camper 5 ever. Thank you very much. 5 ever indeed, or
5 ever, yeah. That's even better than 4 ever.
Well, exactly. It's one better. I mean, I'm hoping to go for at least 3 ever, but we take it in our stride.
Yeah.
Nathan T says, surely everyone in Scotland has a wet palette by default. Which I think we leave the comments
we don't have houses up here.
So we're gonna leave the comments there. We're gonna come back to them. Thank you very much for being so on it in chat. And now we're going to chat about our predictions for the box, because we've had a little bit of information about what's going to be in it. We know, for example, we've got a focus on Dunland and Rohan, We've got a trailer now as well for the new film, which I was going to import so that we could watch it together. I didn't. I forgot. So I was busy trying to fix my broken camera. So I might try and do that whilst Harry and John are talking. Harry, start us off.
Yes.
What do you
Predictions?
What do you think is going to be in the new box in terms of both kits and models, like as in specific data sheets and heroes, but also what new stuff we might get specifically in reference to infantry warriors?
Okay. So I think it would be strange for them to announce the Wolf model as being the sort of the first model of this lot that's being announced without then also including it in the box set, especially because we know it's plastic, and historically these box sets have always been plastic except for a few minor exceptions way back when. So I think that's probably a safe assumption that we're definitely going to see this. But from there, obviously there'll be a good hero. I'd be surprised if it's not Hera, the female sort of protagonist of the film. Whether or not we see more after that, I really don't know, because usually these sort of box sets have been one hero leading each side, but then we had such a weird exception with Osgiliath. Yeah, good shout. It's because we had Faramir and two plastic ranger captains, and then there were no evil plastics heroes.
Wasn't Gothmog in that set?
Sorry?
Wasn't Gothmog in that set?
Oh, apologies. Yes, you're completely right. Yes, that is right. So okay, that does make more sense. So that was a mounted hero versus 3-foot plastic heroes. So to me, it makes sense to have a wolf combined with a Hera, and then the miniatures wise, I think we'd almost. I mean, maybe this is wishful thinking, but I think we're almost certainly going to see new plastic miniatures for both factions, because they'll want something. Yeah, I would imagine Dunlending cavalry, and then either riders of Rohan or Royal Guard or something similar for the Rohan. Whether or not we also see some more heroes, I don't know. I'd be surprised. I think people are going to want to buy a Helm Hammerhand. Is
there going to be a new plastic helm in the starter set?
I think so. I was talking about with some friends earlier.
Or I suppose it could be parallel to. I reckon it'll be one hero aside, and then I think there'll be.
Yeah, and they'll release some plastic separately.
Sorry, your friend was saying.
I was going to say, we were talking in our local chat about whether the existing Helm Hammerhand model will be wrested from the range or whether it will stay there. And so I love that model, but it has been out of stock for quite some time and shows no sign of returning. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do get rid of that, because otherwise, I don't know.
It's a shame. It is genuinely one of my favorite models in the range. If not my favorite model in the range. I've got one, but I'm terrified if it breaks something, that's it. It's gone forever, and it's so gorgeous.
I know, like Soulbind as well.
Oh, I mean, it could just be that it'll exist, and they have sort of done these things before where they've had. I mean, for example, with the old Bolg, they brought the old Bolg back as the keeper of the dungeons.
Exactly, he could just be a captain.
Yeah, they might just convert him into a Rohan captain, or like I don't know. It might be a bit of a waste, but at least it's better than losing him.
It's better. I don't care. It's definitely better than losing him. Completely agree. So John, we'll come to you in just a second. But first, let's just have a quick watch of the trailer to remind ourselves what's in it and what we might be getting in plastic.
All Middle-earth knows the tale of the War of the Ring. But 200 years before that...
Riders of the Mark! Brothers of Rohan!
There was an older tale.
Arise!
We come with an offer to strengthen Rohan.
Hera, daughter of Helm, I, Wolf, seek your hand in marriage.
Our fathers speak as if I were not even in the room. I do not want to marry you.
You do not seek an alliance. You seek a throne. You will live to regret this, old man. He's dead. You will pay for this with your life.
The boy I knew would never wish for war.
The boy you knew is gone.
Fire!
There's so many of them. I pledged to fight for my king.
You know nothing of war.
I'm the fastest rider you have. People need hope, Hera. Something to believe in.
My pride. My joy. You could rule the world. You think I am afraid of you?
You should be.
What does Mordor want with rings?
There we go. Okay, so that's the trailer. Hopefully you can hear us all again.
Yeah, boy.
So, John, we cut you off before your predictions. What do you reckon is going to be in the new box set? And
I think they'll do Helm and the daughter, and then Wolf and his dad.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I
think there'll be 2 heroes, but I think the price might be a bit more.
Oh well, yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be the. We're gonna discuss prices in just a moment.
A Mummock in there, I don't know.
So that's one of the big ones. There's been a lot of speculation about a plastic Mummock, and I was at Warhammer World the other week, and I was tempted to get the Royal War Mummock, which I wanted for a while, and I held off, and I was like, is it about to be replaced with a new Mummock? And I thought the old Mummock is a nice model.
Yeah.
But it's a flawed model. It's got a huge plastic seam that runs all the way around where the 2 giant halves meet. And there's a lot of gaps and things within it. But at the same time, replacing a model of that, I mean, it's gigantic. Even by 40k standards, it's a big, big model.
Well, at the time, it was the biggest plastic kit Games Workshop had ever made.
Yeah, because I mean, unlike...
It was enormous.
I mean, if you look at like 40k, the tanks and things and the vehicles are just not to scale to the miniatures at all. A Rhino couldn't fit 12 Space Marines, can't even fit 2 Space Marines in, let alone 12 Space Marines. But the Mummock is much closer to scale because they have to have the models physically represented in the Howdah, which is actually one of the things that attracted me to Middle-earth in the first place. I was like, a game that's decided we're not going to make the Howdah representative. We're going to make it a literal physical space with gaming dimensions, and you could theoretically, have a fight around the Howdah kind of thing. I just thought that's absolutely ace. So I would love it if they brought a new one out, but I want them to kind of maintain that. But it does seem like a colossal undertaking. And what do you guys think?
I'd be really surprised if they redesign a Mummock. It just feels like of all the kits they're going to redesign, choosing a massive one that is a plastic kit it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. And compared to some of the other 40k and AOS monsters, it does maybe pale a little bit, but
it still looks good.
It's still pretty good, and looking at the pictures of in the sequence we've just seen there, although it's all often in the dark, it doesn't look that much different. So I think I'd be disappointed if they redesigned a Mummock instead of doing new Riders of Rohan, for example, or because it just feels like such an opportunity for them to finally redo some models, especially because the riders, when you look at them in that trailer, they don't really look that Lord of the Rings like they have similarities, but they do look a little bit more kind of. Actually, I think they look a bit more Tolkien-y. Like they look a bit more,
Saxony.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Tom's got the right idea. That's what I want, a fucking Mummock verse watcher.
Well, we're gonna get to the comments. John, what do you think? Mummock or no Mummock?
Nah, I don't think they'll do it.
Fair play.
I can't see them doing it. It's too much of a time sink and reason.
And a bit of a risk, because it would have to be a very expensive kit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a few comments then.
Can I just add something?
Oh, sorry, John. Harry, yeah.
Only because I've having rewatched the trailer, it's given me some other thoughts. Because there's that sort of silhouette of the evil Dunlending cavalry on the hill where they've got these horny helmets. And I think that they'd be a good potential. And it also shows the shots of the shadows of the Dunlending warriors lined up in front of Helm's Deep as well.
The bone helmets.
I think the ones on foot they didn't have helmets, but yeah, the ones on the hill the riders did. So I think those are the sorts of things we're likely to see personally. But there seems like there's a lot of heroes. I mean, obviously Helm and was it Frecker the Dunlending dad? I think those are almost guaranteed, but I don't think they'll be in the box set.
I'm assuming if
what's Frecker's rules going to be? Gets punched in the face and dies.
I was going to say exactly that. It's definitely zero fate. Definitely zero fate. And I'm assuming there's going to be one of those awful rules where it's like if he dies, then Wolf's got to go to his body and guard it, or try and take vengeance on the model that killed it, or something like that.
Hopefully it's not as just another thing. I mean, I'm sure you talked about the rules earlier while I was watching Rings of Power, but I wasn't that impressed with the Wolf special rules being just reroll ones in combats and stuff. I thought that was a bit uninspiring. Personally,
it's a bit 40k-ish. Yeah.
Master of Battle.
Yeah, let's have a... Oh, John.
He's got an ability to re-roll a single d6 during the duel roll and re-roll to wound rolls of ones against enemy heroes. So it's like it's basically like Lords of the West, but a little bit worse. So it's like it's fine, but it didn't like inspire me in any particular way as thinking, oh, that's a fun rule, like the new as Angmar Orc Hero did with the cool stealing war gear thing. But anyway, sorry, that's a bit of a diversion.
No, it's really good. Let's have a quick look through the comments. Glyn, why doesn't Wolf? We'll get to Glyn. We'll get to Glyn. There's loads more than I thought. Sean, genuinely don't understand wet palettes again. Fuck's sake. Oh, we started now. Genuinely don't understand why anyone dislikes using wet palettes. I'm determined to find out the rational reason. John, no, I'm not going to ask him. But
listen to Castle
he's never used them. He doesn't have a reason.
Shit.
Andrew, he doesn't know that. He just doesn't know. Andrew says it's like saying walking on the moon is shit. He's just got no frame of reference. Andrew says, in recent events, I think the license problem slowed the rise of Angmar and most of their releases in general, and now we get everything all at once. Yeah, seems like that's likely to be the case. Yeah. Glyn says, wet pallets can get in the bin. There you go, Glyn. You've got yourself a little ally there. Stephen says, I like the new model, but why does he have a curved sword? In my opinion, not very Dunlandy.
Is that... I thought that was his cloak. And then his sword behind it, isn't it?
He does have a curved sword. He does have a curved sword.
Got two curved swords.
He does have two curved swords on foot, yeah.
No, but it just looks a bit cutlassy, like a kind of... He looks like a kind of pirate of the plains in the same way that the kind of Rohan are Vikings of the plains. So I think it kind of makes sense to me.
The Rohan are the Vikings of the plains.
Yeah, that's literally what Tolkien designed them after. They're like the Danes and the Vikings, but they don't have ships. They have horses instead.
Well,
I think you'll find.
Well, actually, and done under the pirates of the plains.
Well, that's my theory. I mean, it makes sense if they're the enemies. So.
Vikings and pirates. You think those are like natural enemies, despite.
Look, I wasn't expecting so much scrutiny.
Is he going to pull out?
He's got a goddamn cutlass. He's a pirate. Let's move on.
Yeah. To live in your worldview, Harry, everything's so simple.
That's why I like Rings of Power.
It's a great series. I mean, yeah.
So, Hazard says, I imagine the sword is linked to the Haradrim Corsair allies he will have. That certainly makes sense. Might be an interesting nod to that alliance. Hazard, hopefully it will be an actual story point in the films. Johnny says, cheers guys, thanks for the advice. You're very welcome indeed. I didn't think this would be the kind of place people would come for actual advice. Oopla says, I'm really excited for War of the Rohirrim, especially to flesh out that time period further. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do take your point that, why invent a new character when a bit of a story already exists, but it's not a particularly substantial story. And it's not like Jackson didn't take liberties with storytelling in the films, in the trilogy. And actually, I do think, controversial potentially, I think that the generally where he departed, he made it a better story. So you never know.
Yeah, obviously there's some wets on the internet who are complaining about Freya, whichever one, the female hero, Hera, sorry, her being like, oh no, girl boss, oh, what's it, Peggy Sue or whoever it is,
Mary Sue.
Mary Jane Watson or whatever it is that people keep saying. I just think, well, you know what? We had Arwen. Arwen was a fundamental change from the Tolkien thing. She replaced Glorfindel. And, people have gotten over that in the last 20 years, amazingly, because it worked.
It took a while, but we got there.
Yeah, they eventually got over it. And the same with, Eowyn, which was a Tolkien idea. The Shield Maiden of Rohan makes sense. I guess it's annoying that it feels like it might be not the Helm Hammerhand story, but the kind of follow-up from the Helm Hammerhand story. But
yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I was wanting the Helm story.
Yeah, but it's going to have everything in it, right? It might just... Because, spoilers, Helm dies, right, at the end. So I feel like...
Oh, Harry!
I know, but...
Bloody hell!
I feel like this gives you a sort of dramatic conclusion. Helm dies, Hera being sad and upset, but also,
And then doesn't get to be queen because, one of her brothers.
Yeah, one of her brothers. Yeah, no, the brothers might become a major character. I don't know. I think it's cool.
I highly doubt it.
So, two things to say. First is that we've seen only a few scenes.
Yeah.
The second is sometimes, of course, what trailers do is films do when they trail things is they focus on different aspects in different trailers. So it might be that we've just not seen much. You can edit, films can look completely different to their finished product from the trailer. It's Rings of Power season 1 made it look like there'd be a Balrog in quite a lot of it, and then it turned out to be in one scene at 10 seconds at the end of the film. But because 10 seconds of a trailer is quite a big bit, it was obviously baited a lot of people into it. So we just don't know. But in any event, I'm really hyped about it. I think it looks great. I think the animation looks really cool, but it's a huge
I think I just can't help
adjustment.
but be apprehensive about things these days because...
But Rings of Power turned out so well, so,
oh my God, right. Back to the comments.
I'm in a very funny mood today, thank you.
Oopla says, I'm really excited we've done that, yeah. Darren says, John, really love your 10mm army. Thinking of getting some for myself. Thanks for the vlog. It was a very good vlog indeed. Link to Harry's channel. Harry? For God's sake. John's channel is in the description, and you can check out his 10mm Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that was really good, actually. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
She gets on.
TNG Production says, I wonder how challenging fun it's been for the GW staff to convert the animated characters to match the rest of the range. It's got to be a brand new challenge. I was saying this last time, and I was sort of shot down for it. It's they have to take a certain amount of creative license, I think, to turn a cartoon face into a 3D face, a 3D render. Harry was like, "Oh no, it's not. Oh, they've got faces. Oh, they don't.
They do have faces. I mean,
they have faces, but they're just they're a shape that's all the same color, so you don't get any contours or anything like that."
I just fundamentally disagree that animation doesn't have different shades.
We're going to watch the trailer, and we're going to skip through.
We've already seen the trailer. We don't need to watch it again.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that.
I can't see what you're looking at because we're delayed behind.
Yeah, well, the audience can. Harry thinks that is what an actual human face looks like, with that little the eyes that are like the size of golf balls, and a nose that's just sort of a little squiggle on their face. And a mouth that, for some reason, takes up about 10% of the width of their face.
Yeah, but if you look at
no other features whatsoever, Harry's like, yeah, mate, that's a realistic human face that requires no interpretation whatsoever.
If you look at all miniatures that have a face, are pretty flat and kind of. It's like tiny miniature faces. All they need is a nose and a mouth. That's all you need on the faces, and maybe a little bit.
I would love to see a miniature that you've sculpted. It would be wonderful. Just this
I like the idea that Freya does. Look at the detail on Helm Hammerhand's face. There's so much detail. There's shadows underneath his eyebrows, shadows going around his nose. There's a beard. The shadow off his beard. It's a much more
human face. But I think the problem is what you've done there is by highlighting Helm's very detailed face, rather than being able to use whatever face is. whatever.
Hera. Well, yeah, but again, Hera's got a pointy chin. She's got a shadow.
Oh my god, she's got a pointy chin. That's
a tiny little pair of
that's
lips.
everything to go on then.
A very slight nose. She's got shadows above her eyes.
I can't
wide
believe I didn't
eyebrows.
Think that she had
tall,
a pointy chin.
There's a crown on her face. There's a lot of
stupid.
detail there. That's all you need in miniature scale, I would think. But I'm no expert, and
no, you're not. No.
And neither are you, Alex. So
pointy chin, has eyes. There we go. That's all we need. That's enough.
Eyes,
enough of a brief for them to go on.
Job's a good one. Sorry.
I think the designers have had to do a lot of work to realise those faces as actual human faces. Harry, however, thinks you basically just ripped them off straight from that. That's a human face right there. Whatever the fuck is Wolf.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Let's compare Wolf's face right there to the Wolf we got in miniature.
It's really difficult for us to do this because I can't see the video.
Okay, I know you're massively massively disadvantaged, which is ideal from my perspective.
Unfair. So because we're behind. Anyway, you make some points, and the main point being the sculptors have done a good job, which they have done a good job. I will not deny that.
The great thing is, I knew you'd have to say that when I said that. I was like, if I make this a point about, if I insinuate that Harry is somehow undermining the work that the sculptors did, he's going to have to reverse course. And you played right into my plan.
I mean, look at the extra. There's a lot. Sorry, go on, John. You say things because I'm just.
I was just saying it's a trap, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a trap, and you did succeed very well at doing it. But
so salty.
Yeah, I am a little. To be fair, looking at the image now, it may be a few seconds behind, but I'm not convinced the miniature actually looks an awful lot like the Action Man character that you can see on the screen. So,
so maybe they've not done a very good job then.
Maybe not, but the miniature looks awesome, so I'm happy with that.
Okay, we're going to carry on with the guys. See what box any of the box predictions we've got in here. Oh my god, I've got to do so much reading this bloody.
Where are we? Plastic Watcher? Someone said that?
Yeah, so I wonder how... there we go. I wonder how challenging or fun it's been for the GW staff to convert the animated characters to match that of the range. Jeremy's Army Zavada. John, you're...
What are you in here for?
Yes, what army?
I was just wanting the 10 mil guy.
Oh, I see. Sorry. What armies do you... what armies are available in 10 mil?
Pretty much all of them.
Oh, sick. Okay.
From various manufacturers.
Ewing says, just got home. What did I miss? Oh, mate. You missed an awful lot of bickering about the Rings of Power. You missed some, rehashed months-old bickering about wet pallets. It's been a fucking bust, to be honest. I'm not sure why anyone's still here. Grimdor Future says, if we get a box set with the same riders of Rohan we have now, I will literally fucking dissolve.
I think that they just can't. They just I know it's GW.
They will.
Yeah, fair enough. You being the voice of negativity here, John. I genuinely, they just can't. Surely they can't. The thing is, would the licensees like it if they just went ahead and did the same models that they've had for 20 years? Oh yeah, this new box game that we've paid hundreds of thousands of pounds or whatever, billions or whatever it is for them to license. It's fine for you to just whack in some old stuff that you've had kicking around on the dusty shelves for ages. Surely they're going to want the best product to agree to a license, right?
So my concern is, and I admit nothing would take the wind out of my sails more than if it's the old Warrior Miniatures. I probably wouldn't buy the box.
I wouldn't in protest.
It would actually, I have to say, it would put me off the new edition slightly. To know that then we're not going to refresh the range in that kind of way. But I did see Rob post on Facebook, and he said, amazed at how quickly we've managed to get this stuff together. And that to me is doesn't speak as if there's a fundamental overhaul of any of the warrior sculpts. It speaks more like, oh shit, we've got to get some heroes together to whack in a box and follow the old formula of putting the old warrior sculpts in a box. But I definitely wouldn't get it, and it would make me quite sad. I'm not sure I'd dissolve like Grimdor Future would, but
I think there's a real strong potential of me dissolving.
Oh mate.
It is. It would be really so agonisingly painful. And like you say, what you've just said, it actually has made me feel a little bit more doubtful than I was at the start of this answer. Is that the pattern they've followed so far has very much been new plastic heroes, old plastic models.
Yeah.
But God, if we, but the thing that's making me more positive about that is that in this one there are no plastic Dunlendings. You can't. There aren't. it's not possible for them to do that for the evil side. So,
Badrum.
what do you say? So, oh, Haradrim. Oh, no. Oh, no, that would be shit. You can't have a load of... No, that's just not right. That's not cricket.
That's a very good point. So I've never collected Dunland.
No, they're all metal or resin, yeah.
So they definitely won't do that. There's no way they're going to put metal or resin in a box. So that does fill me with some hope. And I'm sorry, but it will get to the point that it's just completely untenable. That the difference in quality between modern GW miniatures and the GW miniatures that are being pumped out box after box, like Riders of Rohan and Royal Knights particularly, versus like Theod and Naima, is just
Plastic
absolutely
Royal Guard,
colossal.
please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although there aren't a lot of royal. Having scrutinised it again, it doesn't look like there are any obvious royal guards in the trailer. There are riders with just like that. We mentioned those looking a bit more Saxony. I think riders are the more obvious target, but I really do hope they add royal guard as well because God knows we need them.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So Tom said we should have a Monarch versus Watcher box set. John Plunkett says, the voice acting is like a classic style, isn't it? It doesn't seem modern. Hera's voice actor is very classical. Nathan, I think one plastic hero each side, new plastic Dunland, recycled Rohan troops. I really hope you're wrong, Nathan. I'm sorry. I really, really do. Possibly a Morannon sprue for the lols.
Fucking hell. If that Morannon sprue makes it in again, that I will just want to throw it against the wall as soon as I get it. I will do a video setting those sprues on fire if that happens.
I will pay for the sprues for you to set on fire.
You won't need to. I'll happily buy the box just to burn it.
Lovely stuff. Glyn says, Freka, a mix of Master of... a mix of Grima / Master of Lake Town, I think that's meant to be.
Yeah, maybe.
Treadhead's Workshop. I'm hoping there isn't a rule like that for Freka. I think this is referring to the rule I was talking about earlier where if her dad dies... Freka is... Sorry, Freka, I'm getting confused. I thought Freka was the protagonist. Freka is dad, is Dunland dad, right? Who gets...
Yeah, Hera is the is the daughter.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
And interesting factoid, she's played by Emma Thompson's daughter.
Oh?
Yeah, Emma Thompson, i.e. Nanny McPhee and others. She's her daughter, Gaia Wise, is the voice actress. Which explains why she's so posh sounding.
These are just words and sounds to me, but yeah, cool. That is an interesting factoid to someone somewhere, presumably. Ted Head's Workshop. So hoping there's a rule for like Freka. So that is referring to what we were talking about earlier. Whereas if he dies, Wolf has to go and protect him. Yeah, I don't like it at all. It's not a fun rule to have to play with. Josh Weatherstone, Wolf hype. Grumble says, why does the model look like it's 10 years old already? I don't agree that it does.
I don't know. I quite like it. I think it looks good.
I think that's quite modern. I think
he is called Grumbles, though. To be fair, so
it's true. Grumbles. Tell us what grumble on. Tell us what your specific objections are, and we will refute them even further. Treadhead's Workshop says cavalry sabers are curved for better cutting, less catching on things.
That is true. Yes.
I mean, John, you know your stuff. You know your historicals. What do you say about that?
It's mainly Napoleonics.
What is?
Like, what was the question? Sorry, I was.
Is that just your stock answer? It's like, oh shit, they talked to me. I'm just going to say it's mainly the Napoleonics. And one in 10 times it will be right.
But that is accurate though. That is what, because like the knights of yesteryear had long straight swords, partially because of the Christ iconography, but also because then they could punch through metal armor, whereas the cutlasses are to slash while you're riding. I think
they're better for like slashing.
Yeah.
Cuts, which isn't really that great against people in armor.
Well, fortunately, it doesn't look like anyone's wearing it. So.
Earlier on, but when you get to periods like Napoleonics, where people didn't really wear armor, people tend to be more slashy.
Yeah,
cool. I mean, just had a look at the trailer stills, and thankfully, only one rider has a horned helmet. As a Danish historian, I hate horned Viking helmets. They do look nice on Khan Dun.
But they're not Vikings. They are Dunlanding. So I wouldn't write off.
Harry's already stated that they are. Was it space pirates? No, land pirates.
Space pirates.
Space pirates would be cool too, but land pirates, yeah. Right, Rohan are the Vikings of the plains, although they were actually the Danes of the plain, I think. But yeah.
Just the Pirates of the Plains. It's the Pirates of the Caribbean spin-off no one asked for. So we've got.
Does that make Wolf the Johnny Depp of the plains? Says someone. Yes, it does.
I guess it does, yeah. Michael Bentley, Anglo-Saxons of Mercia rather than Vikings, I think. Tom Rogue Dice says, Wolf, Dad, New Dunland Infantry and Cav Sculpt versus Hera, Helm and New Royal Guard Sculpt, old Rohan Warriors Riders. I don't think they can do new plastic Royal Guard and keep the old Riders of Rohan. Maybe I'm being completely naive, but I feel like the contrast there is almost worse than having half of the warriors, all the warriors being old. It's like when they refresh 40k ranges, they do sometimes leave half undone. So my beloved Eldar at the moment are about halfway through their range refresh, and we've got literally 25-year-old warp spiders, and sat against the beautiful new plastic Howling Banshees or whatever. They just look utterly ridiculous, more ridiculous than if they'd just not done anything with the range at all.
That's true.
So I don't know, but then I've just disproved my own point because I've just acknowledged the fact they do it in other ranges. So yeah, maybe.
But they're not all put in the same box in that way. I think Tom Rogue Dice makes an assumption that there's going to be a massive amount of stuff in the kit. I think because he says Wolf, Dad, New Dunland Infantry and Cavalry versus Hera, Helm, New Royal Guard, old Rohan Warrior and Riders. I think we're likely to see one squad of good guys, one squad of bad guys, a book, and 2 heroes, and maybe some terrain. We might see some Rohan.
I'd love to see
if they rebooked anything, they might put the Rohan house terrain or something like that in it.
Do you think if they do new plastic guys on horses, the foot models will be in the same kit rather than 2 separate kits like they are now?
Could be.
I bet the boxes will still be sold separately, but that's what we got. So I mean, you said 1 squad per side. I don't necessarily agree it'll be that limited. I mean, Pelennor Fields.
It depends on if they're new sculpts. It just depends, isn't it?
It's true, but I mean,
if it's like 12 good quality new miniatures on each side plus a hero, that's a small battle, isn't it?
I don't think it would be that limited. I mean, if we look at their model for 40k and Sigmar, it's been to absolutely ram pack the new box with stuff at a huge discount relative to what they would sell for individually. And then obviously they hook you and you buy other stuff individually. But it's all with those games, it really has been we're gonna and even with Necromunda. I mean, Necromunda they can't sell you a lot of models because it's squad on squad. But then they put a lot of terrain in the box, and you get these big chunky starter sets, even with brand new sculpts. So I kind of feel like we're gonna get probably a similar amount of models to a Skilliath or
I haven't really followed the other systems for a while, but I did look at a Scaventide box the other day, and it was massive. It's huge, really full. Yeah. And I looking at it now, it is 160 quid, which compared to the last Lord of the Rings box set, which was only 2 and a bit years ago, wasn't it? Is that right? 2 years? 2 years. Anyway, two Christmases. By the time the Christmas comes around, when this box is likely to be,
that's so quaint.
It'll be 2 years old, won't it? Sorry?
It's so quaint that you measure your time in Christmases.
Yeah. Well, that's when Santa
comes. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. How 364 days until Santa or whatever it is. But it is looking at this box, the Scaventide one. That is, what is it, 80 miniatures or something like that with substantial number of big heroes. So yeah, maybe you're right. And it also comes with terrain, which I could definitely imagine a Rohan house, 2 heroes, and a substantial amount of other stuff, but.
I don't reckon we'll get more than the hero aside, but that'd be great. The box you just described to me is wonderful. As long as they're new plastic warriors, then I'm down with that completely.
Yeah, I hope they are.
Ben says, Michael Bensley, I think you're right. I think Rohan are what Tolkien thought Saxons would become without 1066.
There you go, yeah. That's basically what I said. Not Vikings, but yeah.
When I was doing my North Coast 500 video, I read... It's the Worlds of Tolkien, I think it was. It's a book basically about... It's sort of biographical, but it's more about where he took his inspiration from, like, landscapes and things around him. Mm-hmm. And I can't which letter it described. It described a letter where Tolkien basically denied emphatically that there was any connection between Rohan and the Saxons, and that any similarities between the language was coincidental and not intentional.
Yeah, but he changes his mind all the time. He was
that is very true. And two, I'm half remembering, but I do have that memory quite lodged in my head, and I think I say it in the video, and because I've said it in one of my videos, it has to be true by definition. I refuse to spread fake news. Tolkien was also inspired by the Jutes in Kent, who had a white horse on red as their banner. And back in Jutland, the Jutes were known for their horse breeding. Very interesting. That's I love little tidbits like that. Thank you very much. And Iwin, you are a historian, I hear, so more of those, please. Andrew Grove, did you give Harry a secret mission that we didn't hear? No, this is not our podcast, I'm afraid.
Just to rile John up incessantly about Rings of Power.
Yeah, you've got fuckloads of points from that. Darren, I would love a new Royal Guard that don't cost your kidneys to buy. Yeah, 100%. We're going to get onto price in just a moment. Gregorio says 2 colours equals so much detail.
It's true.
Andrew Grove says Krillin from Dragon Ball is prime miniature target for Harry.
I don't know. I don't know what a Krillin is, but I'm guessing that's an insult. So I'm going to say,
how dare you? Animated faces, Harry. I think that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Sean, I'm hesitant to expect that many plastic updates. I reckon GW are acutely aware of financial loss given the expense in tooling. The plastic mimic and Watcher is going nowhere. We're stuck with them. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm really not bothered about a new plastic mimic. I'm happy. I love the plastic mimic still. I enjoy painting mine. I still want the Royal Mimic. I just want the fundamental miniatures, new Warriors of Minas Tirith, new Rivendell Elves, new Orcs. My God, they could be so good. And it frustrates me that Star Wars Legion are now on their 2nd generation fundamental plastic. So Stormtroopers, the whole game only launched 5 years ago. And there's now a 2nd generation of plastic stormtroopers, 2nd generation of plastic clones, 2nd generation of plastic rebels. They're like, well, these are the fundamental units, the units that bulk out the armies, and we're going to give them a complete refresh, brand new plastics, and it's paid off. They look beautiful. The idea that Games Workshop can't do it feels like nonsense. I feel like the reason they don't do it is because they focus on other things. But as I've said before, the problem is that's fine when it's their IP. When it's not their IP, it feels a bit like they're holding it hostage.
But I mean, I know it's boring to defend Games Workshop in this way, but they have had a lot of issues with their factory, and in June they announced that they're going to build this new factory as part of this massive expansion. So hopefully, I'd like to think that the reason they've been holding out new plastics from some of the more niche ranges is because they want to prioritize the big sellers, which makes sense. They're a business. That's fine. I don't care. But maybe this new factory will mean that they can do some more plastic miniatures elsewhere. But who knows? Because I mean, they're a FTSE 250 country. They should be able to buy a new factory and make some new.
They're in the 100, I think, aren't they?
I don't know. But they're definitely in the 250. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and like I said, completely agree that it's just a bummer that they have the exclusive license to make tabletop games, and so we're not going to get miniatures unless they make them. And if they're like, well, we're going to prioritize other things, it's like, fine, you're a business, you do businessy things, but I'm still going to be upset that we could have that the opportunity cost is that for 20 years we haven't had as many Lord of the Rings miniatures as we could have had. True. But what do I know? Nothing, and you're making sensible points while I'm trying to irrationally complain. John,
irrationally complain. John, do you want to irrationally complain too?
Nah, I've done enough today.
That's only because
I need to start turning my phone upside down.
Turning your phone upside down.
My phone.
Oh, so you can't. Yeah.
Lost.
So let's. Glenn Seymour says plastic Victrix games, nice Dark Age models anyway. Ben says, I hope we get more than 2 horse poses. Oh my god.
And no broken ankles.
No broken ankles. I mean, that's the thing, is modern plastic, they wouldn't. I trust them. I trust them to nail the new models if they did new models. And I don't think you get 2 horse poses. And I definitely don't think you get 2 plastic ankles. And for what anyone says, Knights of Arnor, they're fucking forge-world nonsense. So,
well, I mean, to be fair to Games Workshop, every time we get new plastic miniatures, they're absolutely fantastic for the game. Like, there hasn't been a duff plastic miniature released since the new edition of Middle Earth. I think they've all been brilliant. So I don't think I'd be surprised if anyone disagreed with that. The resins are a different matter, but
I think the only ones that I saw some controversy over was Gothmog's Warg. I think people.
Yeah, but he had little testicles. That's fantastic.
Agreed. I wasn't a huge fan of
the testicles.
No, I was a colossal fan of the testicles. I wasn't a huge fan of Faramir and his buddies.
I think the jumping over the thing I didn't like, but the other two were good. I thought
one of them was like leaning up against a big pillar thing, and I'm like, get rid of the pillar, don't.
But you have a rational hatred of terrain on models, don't you? Say.
It makes my eyes go squiffy. It's awful. Right then. Very interesting. Johnny says very interesting. Harry, I don't know what you said that was interesting. I'm assuming he's hallucinating or wrong.
Was that about the pirates? I assume it was.
Oh yeah, there must have been. Yeah, Pirates of the Plains. That was it.
Oh no, sorry, no. That would be the factoid about Thompson's. What's his face? Emma Thompson's daughter.
That would be it. And Nathan says Harry showing off his general knowledge that he didn't show on the chase.
Thank you.
Johnny says thanks. I don't know what that's in relation to, but we're well past it now. Well past it. Chris from Krista says, "Evening all. Am I too late to wildly speculate about which armies we're losing? We're not done losing armies yet.
No, we did that in the last stream,
in your podcast. Yeah. So I think you're at liberty to wildly speculate, but we're taking a more positive, future-focused approach today, Chris. So you're very welcome to wildly speculate about what miniatures we're going to be gaining in the new box set. We've had a look through the trailer and we've tried to deduce what we think is going to be in it. Tom French says, curved blades allow the swords to self-align. Also, cavalry swords used to be weighted at the top as a force multiplier. Very interesting. Glyn Seymour says, he sent a message that he then retracted, which just makes me want to read it all the more. Grimdorp Future says, far be it from me to agree with Alex, but I also seem to remember Tolkien's Saxon denial.
Yeah, but Tolkien denied absolutely everything. He claimed it wasn't an allegory for stuff, which it obviously was. Like he's just a finicky old man, and God love him. He made some great stuff, but he was a real grump by the end. So I just don't agree with anything he ever said after Lord of the Rings was written.
So there we go.
He was probably a racist too.
Harry knows more about Tolkien than Tolkien did.
That's right.
He is now the unitary authority on Tolkien.
Well, sorry, I'm being facetious here, but generally, Christopher Tolkien, didn't he write like multiple versions of the history of what John or his dad wrote? That like there are versions where it shows this is what he wrote at this point, this is what he wrote at this point, and this is what he wrote at this point. So there's a lot of
his mind. Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of stuff that doesn't really
for example,
tally up.
Whether or not we are in an age of whether Middle Earth was an age of the Earth we live in now, which I understand originally said it wasn't. I think we are in the 7th age. That's right. Yeah. Which disappointingly, I think like the coming of Jesus was like the separation between two ages, and that nothing could make me less interested in Lord of the Rings. Haley says, show Bunny. She wants to see the bunny, if the bunny is available for showing.
Oh, show Bunny, yeah. Show Bunny, please.
I'm not sure I can because of the shorty camera. And Alex has
we can see ears. We can see ears.
I'm excited to see it when the stream catches up.
Yeah, we'll get there. You can see we'll have. I've got a brand new cat tree as well. So there's.
Nah, it's not working.
Shame. Right, there you go. That's the animals done.
Sorry, Alex
is back aligned. Sean Clark, Lord of the Rings nearly tanked GW. There's probably some fear going on as well.
I think that's unfair to say that because it also massively made them what they are.
The amount of money they made. Like the Urukai kit's the only kit that ever outsold the Tactical Squad kit.
What was
the Urukai kit?
Really?
Yeah.
The only one that ever outsold the Tactical Squad.
How do we know that? I mean, how do we know these things? Because they don't release that kind of information. Is this just
I think it was in a white dwarf or something.
Yeah, I think that tallies with when I spoke to Rick Priestley. He basically said that they literally lined the offices in the Italian office with gold because from money from the Lord of the Rings. He said that they were very ostentatious. They spent far too much money from the Lord of the Rings boom without thinking, this is going to pop at some point. So yeah, it's sort of widely accepted that it both. Yeah, it both built them up to a massive height, but then they also didn't manage the inevitable decline after the hype of the movies had gone very well.
That's fascinating. That's absolutely fascinating. I didn't know that at all, but that's really interesting.
Well, I mean, sorry to interrupt you. It's the same. It's the reason many of us are in the any kind of the hobby is because Lord of the Rings was released at that perfect moment. When we were all interested in toys and it sort of it got us into Games Workshop, many of us, and then we ended up playing other games, didn't we? I was the
other way around. I mean, I didn't the first time I played MESBG was in 2021, I think 2021, 2022.
Jesus.
It might have been 2020 actually. It was during the pandemic. When I was getting into it was when the game was launching. So I remember being in the Games Workshop in Leamington Spa, their old site, which was one of the smallest in the country. It's tiny little place. And I was sitting there painting. I used to sitting there and painting all day back when it used to be sort of a community hub. And they had this little boxy TV in the corner, and it played two things on loop all day: the trailer for Dawn of War,
yes,
and the trailer for the Fellowship of the Ring. It was on the run up to the Fellowship of the Ring coming out. So I remember the game launching. I remember being very excited about it. I remember my friends having some of the miniatures, but I never really played it myself. I think I played like one demo game.
I think playing it and owning some of the miniatures were slightly different things, though. I think a lot of people owned.
I got the magazines, so I did have some.
I never did the magazines. I'm going to be honest.
No, I did. No race.
I remember being like, "Oh, we'll get you a magazine for the car ride." And I'm like, "Great, I want that one because of the toys." Bin the magazine. I want the toys. Let's have a look at. I've got a few more comments in here.
Man, I really like playing Dawn of War now.
What a game! Classic game. Chris says plastic hobbits for sure. Oh, how would we feel? How high up your guys' list of priorities is a box of plastic hobbit militia?
It's like rock bottom, isn't it? Really, I'd love the idea, but yeah, it's definitely not high up. I want to see a plastic Frodo and Sam and Gollum first. Frankly,
I'm actually shocked that it's taken.
It's mad that they have this obvious plan to do all of the heroes like Boromir and Elisar and Frodo and Sam and Gollum, and then it just seems like they've stalled, perhaps because of this thing. Who knows?
Well, it does seem like it seems like their entire business model now is jumping on the hype train. But I find it strange that things like you get the Bjornings before you get. I mean, I get it's different. It's not like that because they do it book by book, and so thematically they've got to fit. But they did do the Quest of the Ring Bearer without a plastic Sam, Frodo, and I mean, I don't remember the launch of that book. I don't know when it came out. But what was the community reaction like when that book was announced and it became clear that there wasn't going to be a plastic Frodo, Sam, and Gollum?
I don't think any of the community gave a shite, if I'm completely honest.
Oh, really? Was it in the lull times, was it?
Well, I think most of the community, the vocal members of the community are competitive gamers, and they probably weren't interested. The sort of quieter, more relaxed community members like myself and you guys, who are a bit less focused on competitive gaming and more just general collectors and gamers and whatever, that I think we might be more interested, but I don't know. I don't remember there being a big hullabaloo about it. But though I vaguely remember that Quest of the Ring Bearer didn't really have an awful lot released alongside it anyway, and so it did feel a bit strange. I can't remember for the life of me. I'll quickly Google, but I don't remember anything being released really Quest of the Ring alongside
that. Haley says, "Yay, Bunny and Cat." Sean Clark says, "Didn't Harry also call him Tolkien? You expect a bad writer on the last stream?"
Yes.
Yes,
I did.
In many ways, I would join Harry on that. So I enjoy the Lord of the Rings. I enjoy reading the Lord of the Rings. But there's some things. It's interesting, isn't it? I'm sorry. I think we've had some of this conversation before, but
we have, yeah.
What your thought is this? So, but there are some story fundamentals. So I read Lord of the Rings before I watched the films, or while I was watching films. I don't know, when I was like sort of 10, 11, 12, and then I reread them just a few years ago for the first time actually. And I remembered the differences between the films and the stories. And there's some bits that make sense, and that in a way I prefer the books. I think just plot points rather than story issues. Like, for example, the elves turning up at Helm's Deep. As nice and cinematic as it is, it doesn't really make any sense in context at all. And I must admit, I feel a bit like a purist in that sense. But in other things, when it comes to actually shaping the story and not the world, I don't think Tolkien fully invested himself in some of the fundamentals of storytelling, such as having your protagonists ensuring that they impact on the story. And we've talked about that in terms of Merry and Pippin and their involvement in getting the Ents to go to war, which in the books, they don't do anything. They're not involved in that. They're just passengers in the story. They're observers only. They're a mechanism by which we observe the story because they're there. In the films, it's a character moment and it's a building moment. It's where they step up to the challenge and they go from being sort of these kind of goofy comic relief characters to being protagonists that have a major impact on the story and thus achieve growth and a character arc. Same with Aragorn.
Somebody's done media studies at school.
I never did media studies.
Or like literature.
I never did literature either. I just
you're just a nerd. Then.
Just a fucking loser. I have no life whatsoever. I don't have wives or girlfriends or boyfriends or anything unlike you guys. So I have only this. I've got a dog, a cat,
and a cat.
Bucky gets more attention than your home, to be honest.
I mean, the only other point
can I just add the Quest of the Ring? So I know this is really sidetracking. The Quest of the Ring Bearer. There were releases. There were very strange ones. There were the Barlam and Butterbur, the what's his face Goatleaf, Harry Goatleaf, and the two Rangers, Angmore and Mablung, I think. So they were characters filling gaps, but they did feel like they should probably have been a plastic Frodo, Sam, and
they were all resin. They were all forged.
Yeah, they were all resin. So I still think that somewhere something went wrong there. But anyway.
Okay. You've distracted me from my storytelling diatribe, presumably intentionally and quite tactfully. So we'll move on. But the point stands. Minquista says, we've got Tom French. I would love a Middle-earth version of Kill Team. Well, that's basically Battle Companies, isn't it? I mean, Battle Companies is a bit different because it just transplants the rules from the main game, whereas obviously Kill Team rewrites the rules, although it's still very heavily 40k based.
I suppose Battle Companies is also story based and like an RPG, whereas Kill Team.
It doesn't have to be though. You can play one-off scenarios. Although I don't think it's amazing when you do.
I don't really know. I probably shouldn't ask this, but I don't really know what Kill Team is or does or how it's different to 40k, to be honest. But you definitely can play. And the great thing is, actually, Battle Companies will probably still be pretty relevant for the new edition, even if everything all changes.
I bet the book still works for the new edition because there's very little in it that.
Full stop.
I really like Battle Companies. We're halfway through a big campaign at the moment, and I've absolutely loved it. But I know your feelings on the matter. There is a lot of admin. I concede that point.
Yeah, I don't like the admin. Yeah, but no. Go
on. I mean, it is also not very balanced at all. I mean, in our campaign, it's been going on for the past year or so.
There's always someone who wants to be the Army of the Dead or the Rangers, isn't there?
Well, no, it's Lothlorien, and the problem is
really because the Fight Six.
They've become it's not just the Fight Six, it's the fact that you have a resource called influence, and you spend influence to roll on your reinforcements table, and you spend 3 influence to roll on your table no matter which army you are. So goblins might start with more goblins, but once you've killed a few of them and they've actually died, they're reinforcing at the same rate that the elves can, but they're spending 3 influence to get a goblin, whereas I'm spending 3 influence to maybe get a Galadrim knight.
I think there was somebody that re-rolled Battle Companies to be better, and we played that, and it was very good.
That's cool. I mean, I must admit, like I say, I really enjoy it as it is.
I recommend looking up and trying it because they completely changed the mechanics and stuff. Interesting. So that it made sense.
Fair enough. Right, we've got a few more topics to cover, and we've only got 20 minutes, so I'm gonna rush through. So, Iwing says they had just used all of their resources on the hobbits for scouring of the Shire.
Yeah.
Minquista says, I've been the undiagnosed... it may have been the undiagnosed ADHD, excuse me, but I've tried reading through Fellowship twice and couldn't get through it. There was so much describing that the pace was lost and I couldn't focus at all. Yeah, I mean, that's a big complaint about it, I think, and people do it as a bit of a joke, but there is pacing problems. There is pacing problems in the book. I must admit, Fellowship I actually found very easy to read on a reread.
The trees in Fangorn drives me nuts. I wanna when I'm reading it again.
Yeah. And something like that's another really interesting thing, isn't it? The book version of Fellowship just sort of peters out because the ambush happens at the beginning of the Two Towers. And it's another reason I don't think he quite understood things, or didn't understand that. I mean, he obviously knows a lot more about storytelling than I do, but didn't concern himself, I think is a better way of putting it. He didn't concern himself with things like pacing and structure as much as he did about the world and the language and things. I mean, another point that me and Chris Powell, who's in chat, have laughed about quite a few times is the nature in which Legolas and Gimli's friendship develops. In the films, it's really organic. You can't pinpoint the moment at which they become friends. It happens, and you start to really appreciate and understand the relationship, which is how it should be. In the books, they enter Lothlorien hating each other's guts. Then they're off screen or off pages for a bit, and then afterwards, it literally says the line, word for word, Legolas and Gimli decided to ride in a boat together because they'd become very firm friends. It's like, for fuck's sake, it's so amateurish. Come on.
It is. But I mean, look, like you say, Tolkien wrote, sold a fair few more copies of his book
than we ever will.
So.
I know. But with that, what's the point in being on the internet if you're not going to...
If we can't complain about literally the biggest selling book of all time,
exactly.
The Bible.
I mean, I've watched some YouTube videos about storytelling, so I feel fully competent to criticise one of the most fundamental storytellers of all time.
Yes, indeed.
Shakespeare's next. So, Treadhead's Workshop says, you mean like Indiana Jones could have been left out of Raiders and it would still end up the same?
Yes, that is true.
I've not seen Raiders of the Lost Ark in a very long time. I can't remember what happens.
Basically, everything happened. The Germans find the Ark, despite Indiana Jones being there, and then they take it to that place, open it, and then they all get turned into skeletons.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Actually, if Indiana Jones was there, that would have all happened, and it would have been fine.
So exactly, but at least in Indiana Jones, presumably Indiana has challenges and overcomes them. The problem with the Fangorn sequence is that they're not faced with a challenge to overcome. They go off with Quickbeam, and they hang out with Quickbeam for a bit, and then you hear Treebeard coming in from the woods, and they're all chanting, and they're all sort of hyped up for war. They've all taken something, and then that's it. That's that bit of the story done. And then all that Pippin does later, or Merry Pippin, can't watch who, is relay the tale to Gandalf, and that's it. And it's the same like I was going to say with Aragorn becoming the king. You're both looking off screen. It's both like, oh my god, he's fucking... I tried my very, very hardest to get him to stop talking about this, and he's talking about it again. Well, I'm going to mention one last thing, and then while I'm doing this,
I don't know where it went. Sorry.
Chat, get the last topic we're going to cover today is prices. So we're going to have a quick chat about...
The price is right!
I know. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about the prices and the new models, which has been really contentious. And what we think would be an acceptable price for the new set, basically.
What's enough for you?
So yeah, whack your thoughts on prices of the Angmar releases in comments, and we'll get to that in a second. What I was saying was that Aragorn's story is better than the films, basically, because he has to overcome and become the character he should be. But he just starts the books the same character as he ends the books.
Yeah, he wants to be king. And this is your fundamental criticism of the Rings of Power, isn't it, John? That you think that all the elves are babies and they're like acting like children and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas they've got to develop in some way so that the start of the series they're childish and underdeveloped, and then by the end they like become the characters they are in the Lord of the Rings.
At all an entire season, they're still the same petulant children.
Oh my god! All right, okay, fine. I was distracted.
I would another reference to that in there.
I was going to say I went back to the topic I'm not supposed to discuss, so I can't shout at you for going back to the topic you're not supposed to discuss. But we're done with both of them now. Okay, right. There's a comment from John here that just says Shrek spunk. I don't know what that's about. Nor
that's the purple stuff that he's drinking, is it?
Well, if you read the one right above it, Alex.
Sorry.
I fucking tell you.
Sorry. All right, we've got a few in here actually, so let's go. Ben says you have us, Alex. Oh, thank you. Nathan says R.E. Tolkien's writing. Don't forget the released story was the first draft. He started editing once it was out. That's very true.
We know Alex's opinions about rules writing being, the first time only, and that's it. You can't.
Well, we don't know that yet because that podcast isn't been released yet. So.
Oh, sorry, spoilers.
Yeah, so he's referring to the next episode
of Cast It Into the Fire,
which I didn't link to in the comments.
I'll be out this Sunday if I can. I need to think of some fake sponsors to put on it. Correct, real sponsors.
Yes.
Yeah, don't give the game away. You're letting them peek behind the wizard's curtain. Grimdor Future says, one of the most baffling things for me in the books is when Helm's Deep just explodes for no apparent reason. Saruman Devilry.
Maybe it was a wizard's curtain.
What? I don't remember that. I don't. That slipped me by.
You thinking of the wizard's sleeve, Alex?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I
I'm doing.
knew,
It's
I knew you were going to say that at some point.
All right.
Strawberry cheesecake flavored Fanta. If you wanted the correct
Oh my god, that
answer.
sounds awful. Is it?
It is actually disgusting, but it's all I've got at hand, and I can't do it again.
I was about to
It's
say. I was about to
possibly
say.
the worst thing I've ever tasted, but it's got this weird aftertaste. I don't know. It's nice, but also horrific.
See, I was about to say I could tell you it's going to be bad without ever trying it, but then I realised that's your wet palate argument, and I don't really want to go back to that. So. Treadhead's Workshop says price of the starter box will be 1.5 kidneys plus a leg. Jesus, will be jam packed with minis. So let's get into this then. Let's do predictions in a moment. Let's do reactions first. So Angmar and their assembled miniatures pricing structure. What did we pick up? Did you guys buy anything?
Yes.
What did you buy?
So I ordered the book because as much as people have said it'll be out of action soon, there are going to be scenarios in there which I'm kind of intrigued by, and I'm a bit of a completist, so I'm quite happy to use the rules for the next 3 months anyway, and then whatever. So I'm quite happy with that. But I think that was the cheapest of the things that you could possibly order. It was £34 for a hardback book, which
Fucking hell.
is quite a lot of money. It's got 22 narrative campaigns in it. It has 112 pages. So on average, you're paying 30p a page or something like that.
Or just over a tenner a month of use.
Yes, which you pay just about that for Netflix or whatever, so it's fine. But yeah, 34 quid was the cheapest.
Which has a million TV shows.
Oh, yes, but
Not
you
just
only get to
one,
watch
but-
one of them at a time.
Oh god, this is way off course. Come on.
Yeah, okay, let's get back on. 34 quid. It's the cheapest thing of the new things that you can get. The next cheapest. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, apologies. There's the Heroes of Khan Dun, which are £25.50. Aldrak and Fract. But I didn't order them. I went with Aranath and Argadir. Aranath is the Ranger hero, and Argadir is the hero of Arnor. I just think the Aranath, the Ranger hero, is really, really cool. I realised that it's £15 for that one individual model, and I'm not even sure I like the other model that much, but I went with it anyway because I thought I want to get some new models because I haven't bought a lot of models in a while. So that's what I've got at the moment, and I think I will. I think I haven't checked, but I think I have an Arvidry and a Malbeth already. So I might get some Rangers of Arnor at some point, or I might just use 3D prints. So I don't know, but I do want to have an Arnor army at some point because I do like as much as people criticise the design, I do quite like them. So yeah, that's what I got. So that's £79 I spent on 3 miniatures and a book.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So John, did you buy anything?
Nah, no money.
Okay, so would you have bought anything? Do you think? Is there anything you're eyeing up, or was it just?
If I had money, I'd probably buy most of it.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair. If
can't
we were
just
all
buy it,
millionaires, we
yeah.
were all millionaires, we might have all bought it, I suppose. But yeah, it's all relative, isn't it? What about you, Alex? Did you want to buy anything?
So, I don't think I can't blame the prices. I don't think I would have bought anything anyway, because the new edition is just around the corner, and that's what I'm most excited about. And so, and I have a general hobby rule, which is that I have to wait a month on any new release, unless it's a limited release. I have to wait a month before I buy anything, so I know whether it's the hype I'm buying into or whether I actually really want the model itself. So that's my general rule, and it meant that no new minis for me at this moment. But I don't think there's anything that hugely strikes me as me wanting them now anyway. Even if there were, some of the prices were just obscene, absolutely obscene. And I hate complaining about GW prices because it's low hanging fruit. It's so played out. Everyone knows. Everyone has their own views on prices. No one's gonna have their minds changed. But the one that really struck me more than the others, more than the werewolves, more than the book, more than the heroes, was the 2 Knights of Arnor for £32, which just £16 for a 14 points model, where you then need to have the dismount separately. Absolutely obscene. I just actually couldn't wrap my head around it. You want 10 of those, that's £160.
I mean, no, nobody is going to need to buy 10 Knights of Arnor. That would be a ridiculous purchase.
You've said that. You've said that. I appreciate that. But
Why would you ever want an army of 10 Knights of Arnor? I just don't see why.
Because you might
anyone
want
would
a heavily mounted Arnor army.
Yeah,
why
but then
not?
you're silly, aren't you? You're just silly.
No, you've got your head in the well, that's not a very competitive list, is
Well,
it?
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes,
yeah.
but some people
like,
might be like,
thematically, who the hell? Like, I just don't. But fine, I get it.
I
Yeah,
like it.
there are-
I often
not
think
gonna
like,
defend
oh, I'd love to see an all-mounted version of this army or that army, even if it's not an army you'd normally play all-mounted.
Sure.
Because I think it's kind of a cool thing to do. You know, get outside of any of the like Sharkies or whatever, the fucking Wolves of Isengard Legion. You know, still just be like, I'm going to get a load of like mounted warg heroes and have an all-warg army. But if they came out and like it's like, oh, we've got released new orcs and wargs and they're £16 a warg, you'd be like, get absolutely fucked with that, particularly because it's the same. It's worse than the Rohan 2 horses because it's 2 miniatures on 2 horses that are static and can't be changed.
I just find it really hard.
Go on,
to
you go first,
justify
sorry.
the prices, just especially when I've got a 3D printer, I can just.
Look, okay, I'll be GW's defender here,
Go on.
even though I really don't want to. I'll be honest, I don't want to defend £16 a horse. It does seem expensive when you can buy 6 horses for 20 quid. I think I've got a Fireforge set of knights for about 20 quid, and they've worked really well. But in defense of Games Workshop, there are plenty of other models that they sell that are ridiculously expensive for what they are. Like I'm just scrolling through the Space Marines at the moment because I don't really look at 40k, and I was just interested to see what prices people pay for stuff. And like a Primaris Lieutenant in Reaver armor is £24. A Primaris Librarian for 1 miniature is £25. A Primaris Chaplain is £25.
Yes.
Aggressors are £37 for 3, so that's
How's that
£12 per
defense?
model.
So
How is that in defense? Okay, yeah, fair. None of these things should be this expensive, but what I don't understand is this strange criticism that Games Workshop has suddenly shocked us with a really expensive.
No. I don't think that's the point at all.
you know?
I think the point is that
It's just ridiculous.
the two things I've noted. First is that I don't actually object to the price of the heroes in the new release, particularly because I get that this is complete nonsense. This isn't how markets or economics works. But I resent the idea that I'm paying more than £1 a point for a miniature. So a Primaris Lieutenant, yes, you're paying 24 quid for it, but it costs 100 points or whatever. It's a chunk of your army. It's not a miniature. And if you buy 10 Space Marine Intercessors, you spend £35. So for 10 plastic Space Marine Intercessors, you spend 35 quid, the same price or £3 more than 2 Knights of Arnor.
Yeah.
So that's the objection I have, and I'm sure when the new riders come out, if they are new riders, which please, I think there'll be a much more sensible price because they'll probably be in plastic, particularly if they're going to be in the new set. It's the only reason that's expensive is because they're in resin, and I just don't understand them. Maybe there is a reason. Maybe there's a really great reason why resin models have to be really expensive, but in my head, I'd just be like, just stop releasing stuff in resin then. If you're saying, because the models aren't better, they're not better. Resin models aren't a superior product.
And frankly, as much as these Knights of Arnor are nice knights, they're not that much nicer, are they? There's not that much substantially more detail on these than anything else. I don't. I mean, as much as I sort of said I would happily defend them, I really don't want to because they aren't a good price at all. 32 quid for 2 is stupid, and they should.
You still think you're on a. You still think you're on our podcast, don't you? Where you've got to get argumentative. And,
No, it's not that. I just think it does. What I think has surprised me is that people have been so aggressively anti these particular Knights of Arnor when we know that Games Workshop and particularly Forge World models are incredibly expensive. And you've mentioned these things before. The Royal Guard are very expensive for what you get. And I just what surprised me is the whole vitriol around why are these a particular target? Like the Royal Guard, which are I think they're 3 mounted Royal Guard with the horses for £37.50, and they're models that have been they're
disgraceful.
Crap.
They look like shit.
They're 20-something years old, and they don't come with dismounts. So actually, it's a similar sort of situation. But I'm just kind of I'm surprised at the anger about it because
I think this anger's always there. Every time they release something new, it's
I get that. I mean,
I do completely take that point. I can't remember the last. So at least three Raw Knights is more than 37 points. I think what struck me, it was like the first time I saw petrol costing more than £1 a litre. I was like, oh my god, that's a huge mental breakthrough. I'm not aware of any other model in the range where you pay more than £1 per model, £1 per point. I might be way off, and there might be like Hobbits and stuff where it costs, it must be Metal Hobbits. Presumably, you pay more than £1 a point, but that was where that's where it was for me.
You get 4 for £8.20, I think, at the last price, unless they've gone up again.
Oh, so no, so actually
that's 5. That's 5, but they're like 5 points a model, aren't they? So
you're getting more than a point per pound. So yeah, so mate,
probably,
anyone in comment chat, if you can.
Oh no, sorry, I tell a lie. They're £11.50 for Hobbit shift now. Fucking hell, they've gone up.
But they're still 5 points each. So you're still getting more than a point per pound.
You get 20 points for £11.50.
So
yeah.
Anyone in chat, if you can think of a kit where you're spending, other than the Knights of Arnor, where you're spending more than £1 per point, let us know. Because for some reason, to me, that matters. It doesn't.
And it is worth adding, the only way to get the dismounts in a non-3D printing way is by buying a box of Arnor Warriors, which this has actually pissed me off more than you guys. I can't find them. Where are the Arnor models? Warriors of Arnor Warband. Okay, the Warrior of Arnor Warband is £57, and it includes 14 miniatures.
90 if you're in New Zealand.
Indeed. A lot more if you're elsewhere, because they've got a strange way of working out exchange rates. But it comes with 12 Warriors of Arnor, a banner, and a captain, and that's the only possible way you can buy Arnor Warriors. So if you want a dismounts for your 2 knights, you have to spend £57. Yeah. And then if you want more Warriors of Arnor, you're going to end up with an extra banner and an extra captain for every 12 dudes. And the captain can only lead 12 dudes, so you've got to leave one of those out every time. So that has actually really angered me. It was the similar sort of thing with the Woses, when you've got Ganbury Gan, and he can lead up to 15 models, and they included only 12 in the box. And in the Legion, they made it like you had to fill his warband to have 15 models to actually use the army. It's like you have to have them, so therefore you had to get an extra Gan. I've got that anyway. I've got that.
Look at the arm movement.
This has genuinely frustrated me.
Yeah,
so this is why I'm getting annoyed by the Knights, because the Knights, to me, are one of the least egregious things about this release. The £57 for the metals that have been out since 2008 or whatever it is, that's ridiculous. That I cannot understand. But yeah,
I think that's a fair point. An unusual defense of Games Workshop, but interesting point.
If I could just getting angry at if I
could just defend Games Workshop briefly, they're all poison and awful, and they smell worse than my shit. I cannot stand them. Yeah, so let's have a quick look at chat. John, anything to add on prices?
No, I think you've done.
Sorry,
done good enough there.
Yeah. I won't go anymore.
No, let's
it's diabolical. I can't remember the last time I bought a GW thing.
I mean, I still do. Like I said, I still do.
I still
have a job.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I still do. But I don't object to every price. I don't object to all the price. I do. It is expensive. I'm not saying it's not expensive, and
it's always been expensive.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get into that argument about whether it's worth it or not. But I suppose what pisses me off is prices relative to their own structure that seem like anomalies to me. So your the Knights of Rohan was a really good example, because the dismounts are £12 for 3, and yet the mounted versions are like £37 for 3. But the models, when you look at the two, they're basically the same. It's just that the mounted versions come with the little plastic horses, which absolutely don't justify that price difference. So what that says to me is the cost of producing those miniatures is very, very small, and there's a colossal markup to get to the £37.
Just because it knows that Royal Guard are better in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that's the kind of thing that, like, it's when you get to, it's when the mask slips and it's like, we fucking got you, dude. It's why, like, sometimes I think I was wondering this with the Let's take the Knights of Arnor. I know I take your points, but let's take the Knights of Arnor. I was like, I wonder whether if no one bought them, whether they'd reduce the price. But I genuinely think they prefer to let a product fail than reduce the price, because to reduce the price would encourage people. Exactly, it would encourage people not to purchase things in the future in the hope of getting future price drops, and it would justify the argument that they unjustly mark up their models. If they reduce prices, it says that we can reduce prices, but we choose not to. So I reckon they would prefer to let models and ranges fail than actually reduce individual prices.
Yeah.
I think it is worth noting. I think they've probably priced this right, though, and not for us, but for what they're trying to achieve with them. Because I think what the Knights of Arnor may well appeal to some hobbyists who want to collect a massive mounted knight army and will spend hundreds of pounds because they've got lots of money, and that's fine if they want to spend all their money on it. Go ahead. But I think what they're actually appealing to is the competitive players who want or feel that they need a couple of knights for their pure Arnor army to add to the competitive nature of that army, and for the sake of improving their army for £32, they will absolutely spend that money because it will make what is already a strong army even better.
That's a fair point. Yeah, it's a really good way of putting it. I think it's I agree.
Thank you.
But that's an anomaly. I don't like.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, and that's there. So. But just convert a knight of Minister. But they know that some of the competitive players just won't do that because the competitive players barely paint their models,
and they don't want to risk being denied entry to any tournaments.
Perhaps, yeah.
Daniel Batten says, "Milk the big green fella on stream, please." Sorry, John.
I was saying how sad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Nathan, pricing has taken a leap. We aren't going to be able to change it. GW certainly aren't going to come back and drop them. No, agree completely. The starter will be pricey, but excellent value. Agree completely with that as well. I reckon that's going to be true. I think it's going to be chock full of plastics, and I think relative to GW prices, it's going to be really good value. And it does be shocking at times, yeah. Harry's full of spoilers today. What else has he spoiled?
He's been talking about... in our local group chat for Lincolnshire, we've been talking about the Rings of Power, and I was making jokes with everyone about Sauron being Halbrand and stuff.
Gotcha. Haley says, I could be a billionaire and still wouldn't have bought it, but I'm only here for the vibes and pets. Fair play.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. Matt Large says, it's the books that get me. Models being a bit pricey, I can be okay with, but the books are just not justifiable at the price point, in my opinion. I don't know what the worst one was. At least every Middle-earth book has been a nice, big, hardback, well-presented book. I remember buying the original, not this edition of Kill Team, or even the previous edition, the precursor edition of Kill Team book, and it was like 25 quid for this little paperback, flimsy piece of crap, riddled with typos that presented a game that didn't function. It did not functionally work. So that was a bit more galling.
I must admit, I've been conned by the whole change into hardback, because I remember when I started Middle Earth again, which was only 7 years ago, quite a while. But anyway, 2017. What you got is a very, very thin. In fact, I've probably got it somewhere. No, it's too far. I can't reach it. But it's a very, very thin book, and I believe it was about £12 at the time, and that had all of the kingdoms of men in it, and then they had all of the fallen realms, and that was very thin. But now all they've done is they've made it a hardback, and they immediately doubled the price, and that it's like, and actually also fundamentally for going to tournaments, a big fat book is just so much more of a faff, and it's like I quite like them to be soft, thinner books that may be less durable, but ultimately are lighter and cheaper. But I've just gotten used to it. I don't think they make softback books at Games Workshop anymore, do they? So.
That's a fair point. Glyn says 12 knights, mounted character. Ian 15 knights, Glorvindel 15 Rivendell knights. Stop trying to kill fluffy and themed cavalry armies, Harry. Agree completely. We won't invite him on again. Don't worry. You should let Alex dream. Grimdark Future says Alex doesn't want to splash that lawyer cash. Oh, mate, we've been over this.
I know. I mean, you are like in the wealthiest of professions,Alex.
I'm a
legal aid lawyer.
I'm a legal aid lawyer.
I don't know what that means, nor does anyone else. So therefore, you're
Google
rich.
it. Google it. Google what that means and realise why that comment is inane and ignorant. Woody says your pounds for points is a really interesting point, and definitely agree. I don't mind spending £32 or £33 or whatever it is on Iana at all. Yeah, I agree. I think Games Workshop know that as well. And if they rack up the points in the model, then it's going to be worth more, regardless of whether or not it costs more to make. I mean, the difference between heroes and non-heroes and the pricing structure has never really made any sense. But they have it. I would rather spend £20 on a hero that's worth 100 points than £16 on a knight that's worth 14 points.
Yeah, I think your argument is pretty sound. It's, if you want to build an army of 1,000 points, 500 points, whatever it is you want, then you want to be spending less money than, or roughly equivalent amount of money to your opponent, I guess.
Yeah,
is the fair thing. Yeah, I get
but
that.
we do have some examples in here though, guys. So so Inquisitor says Dunlending horsemen. They're more.
Oh yeah, they would have been, wouldn't they? Because they were about
yeah.
How much are Dunlending horsemen? They must be the same. £32.50 for 2 horses.
50p more.
But I don't know how many points they are. But
I was so wrong.
I think they might be slightly more points wise. So maybe you get away. Maybe you might be
Yeah,
right.
the point cost than they are normal knights is just insanity.
They're not going to be 16 points though, are they, for a Dunlending horseman?
I can't remember.
14. No.
Hold on.
So,
Let
yeah,
me get
yeah,
my
the-
books
yeah, the-
out
the-
while you're thinking about stuff.
All right, okay. Well, let's go through some more comments. That's interesting. Ben W says that Thrain the Broken is more pounds than points.
No, Thrain the Broken comes with Gandalf in the box, so I doubt that, because unless it's 100 and 200 points or whatever.
Yeah, hold on, please.
Yeah, Dunlending Horsemen are 12 points. So,
there you
so
go.
actually, they're slightly more expensive per point. So because they're 50p more.
Yeah. So they're 50p more, and they're cheaper. They're 2 points cheaper per model.
There you go. So they
there
are
you go.
worse.
So we've not found one yet, guys. We've not found one yet. Matt Large says all of this is saying don't play Arnor. I don't think that's. I don't. That's not what I'm trying to say. At least, only don't pay for them.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to play Arna, go ahead. If you've got money to buy the GW miniatures, even better. But you can definitely get 3D printed sculpts that are just as good. I mean,
Come
maybe
to
not.
JMax 3D print for.
Well, I mean, even I've seen some fantastic sculptures. I mean, there's a guy called Rob Burton who made some Arnor Knights out of Ministry of Warriors ages ago. They look amazing. And you know what? You could probably buy them off him for about the same price. And he has done them with actual green stuff and everything.
Well, there you go. Thomas Harrison says, welcome.
Hello, Tom. How are you?
The captain and banner not being separate annoyed me.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about there? Let me.
Man after my own heart. That was the bit that I was talking about with the captain banner, 12 models all in one big wall.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. Okay, and then he also says, and then I figured that all captains could be the dismounts.
Yeah, I suppose they could, couldn't they? Yeah.
Nathan says, I bet there's a scenario in the book that calls for a lot of Arnor Knights.
Oh, yeah, you're totally right. There's going to be one that calls for 6 knights, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just so you can spend £92 or whatever it is, £96 on 6 models.
So we've got some comments on my lawyer rant. Grimdark Future just says, all I heard was lawyer. Danny Matthew says, I googled it and then put a funny face. I mean, I'll tell you what, the legal aid system is broken and collapsing, and if I can bring even one set of eyeballs to this urgent critical issue, then I will. That's great.
Yeah.
You wonder, no one likes lawyers until they need them, and then you'll rely on the legal aid system to get one. Yeah, Ewing, 12 points for Dunland Horse, and one of the Dunland Horses do have base fluff. Alex will love it. Oh, I've got to see this.
Oh yeah, they've got like built-in fluff, haven't they?
Oh,
it's like a tuft on the. It's got like basically it's like a shield that they glue to or something like that. Is that right? I can't remember.
I'm looking at it now.
Where is it? I can't see it.
Yeah, they are standing on a Rohan shield. That's the worst.
You take that. You take that.
Not my jam. Not my jam at all. If anyone doesn't know, I've got a big thing about faction-specific stuff being on bases. Oh my god, this new Games Workshop website is complete trash.
What? Why? Yeah, that's a whole separate stream.
It is.
Every
It
time
is.
you go
But
on it,
the
it
one thing that annoys me is you
amazes
Google a unit, you get the link for that unit, you go through onto its page, and then it asks you to sign in and takes you back to because for some reason it can never remember that you've signed in already 3 times that day.
Yeah.
And then it takes you back to the landing page again, and you've got to find it all over again.
And you've got to click your filters again. God.
And why can't it remember what country you're from or figure out what country? Every other website in the world knows what country you're from.
Yeah, every time you open the website, it says, "Are you in the America?" And you're like, "No."
It's like, come on, you've got
and it's
to
not.
be able to do
It's
this.
by also got UK last. Why is UK last? I hate that. Really annoys me about an English website where the vast majority of their audience is English.
Why they make the websites for English people these days, huh?
But it's ridiculous, and it knows that I'm in England.
If it's
must
gonna
have a bloody cookie
have
on me
an
or
English
whatever.
website, it should speak the geolocation
Well,
properly.
it should. Every time, sometimes I click on it and it's in Krona and stuff like that. And there's nothing against Danish folks or.
I bet you voted
or
Reform.
Norwegians
The
or-
worst way you can start.
I voted Reform.
The worst way you can
Very
start
good.
an anecdote is I've got nothing against Danish folks, because the next sentence out your mouth 99% of the time
But
is going to
every
be
time it comes
toxic as
up, I
fuck.
think it's like thousands of krona for my model, and I don't want to spend thousands of krona on my models.
Fair, I can't argue with that logic.
It's just
All right.
silly. It's all Games Workshop fault. It's not the Danish fault. They're lovely.
Good that we've got that clarified. Right, it's 10 past. We're gonna finish off the comments, and then we'll probably be done for the evening. Paul Dale, surely when they got the rights for the new film, they would have to make models for everything in the film and not use existing models. So I expect models for everything that's in the film. I really hope you're right, Paul. Really hope you're right. To be there again says simply hot swap the shields to your opponent's faction shield every game. Have like a little magnetized shield to be on the base that you can swap out depending on who you're fighting. I mean, it's a big effort, but I respect if anyone does it. Huge respect to them.
I'd love to see that.
To be there again says I'm in the US and it always seems to think I'm in the UK.
Oh, for
What
God's
is
sake,
with
that's
this
so
fucking
annoying.
website?
Why would they do that?
I once built a website and that knew which country you were in, and I can't even make this stream function properly. Look at it; all the corners are janky.
I was going to say I'm not even on it anymore. I don't think.
You are no, you're in. You're in. You just
there was a bit where we all vanished.
Yeah, you did vanish for a bit, but that's for some reason. Whenever I leave Discord and try and find something on the website, you all vanish. But look, I mean, John's chin's been cut off. The top of your head's been cut off. I haven't bothered to. I was going to swap out what's his face, Wolf in the corner there. He's been there for the whole fucking stream. It's just been a complete disaster.
It has.
Fortunately, my natural charm and charisma has seen us through.
Good one.
Yeah, thanks. I thought that would. Yeah. Oh. Zorpsin, hello, Lockie, who just says back in my day. Back in my day, when I was a lad, you'd open a website and it would be in the right fucking country, wouldn't it, Harry? Hey?
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah. I go on Nigel Farage's blog. It always knows I'm in the UK.
It does. Every time I click on it, it knows that I'm because it's always banging on about England for England and all that. You know.
Pete says.
website, Harry.
Pete says, "Hey guys, just logging on. Where are you at with the Alex Rob Alderman law?"
I mean, he has been defending Rob for a lot this evening, haven't you, Alex?
That's such a. You can go back and what that is defamation. Although Rob's a really lovely guy, so
he is a really nice guy.
I'm very happy to defend him. It's that's why I said you've got to separate out the creative decisions from the corporate decisions. Come on, guys. Zobsop says, "Why are they charging in points and pence?" Pounce and pence. Oh my god, I can't read. He made a comment and I ruined it. I've ruined it. We're not going back. Sorry, Lockie.
It was a funny one, Lockie. I laughed.
It was better. It was a better joke than I did it justice for.
You did, yeah. You ruined it.
Pete says PS Wolf is awesome. I think we've pretty much got consensus on that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was negative about it, apart from maybe the Cutlass. And the fact that they're land pirates, I think we've all agreed that. Oh, Pirates of the Plains, I think it was. That was what people really wanted. Everyone agrees on that now, don't they?
New Pirates. We want campaign book army of Pirates of the Plains.
Yeah, they should totally do that. Anyway,
Zobsop says, "Where are my shillings?" I don't know. When shillings ended.
African country, they use shillings, don't they? Or is it? There's definitely some countries that African countries that use shillings. So
Really.
Yeah, still, yeah.
Interesting. Owen says, "I love this" in all caps. That's very nice. Thank you. I hope that this is the stream and not something else he's doing that he's just got to declare to us. Pete says, "Rings of Pua," more like. Oh, don't, please, no. We've been
outrageous.
We've been over this. Oh,
Pete,
God.
This is outrageous.
Absolute garbage.
I mean, Pete, you are right, but we're trying not
Hold
to.
on, Alex, you haven't watched the next episodes yet, so you can't say that.
Fair enough. I will reserve my judgments to season 1.
Just to clarify, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Somalia, and Somaliland all use the shilling as their currency.
There you go, Zorp. That's an actual, genuine, factual, direct answer to your question, which is you almost never get that here on Battle Camper. Owen says, "Laughing on behalf of my country." Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think Ewing is from Denmark,
absolutely, yeah. Who you just presumably you wanted them all to stop coming over here and taking our jobs and sitting on benefits, not doing anything, contributing. Yeah.
We love you, Wingy. He's good.
Harry, he says that now, but I saw him outside of a hotel threatening to burn it down. He's due in Crown Court next week.
I only threw a few rocks at police officers, for God's sake.
That's all it takes. I've tried, as your lawyer, I tried to tell you. You were there as a journalist as well, and look what happened. You got taken in by the mob. Fucking thug. Well, where are we?
Oh, yeah. Adam says, I'd be happy playing UK prices.
Yeah, I mean, we complain, and then the fucking Kiwis come in, and they're like, guys, you've got it all right. You know.
Yeah, what did you say? John, you said earlier how much it is in...
It's like 85 quid for the honours. Honour guys.
85... What? So 85 actual pounds?
Yeah, if you convert it.
Living, breathing.
As in, you know, like that's what it translates... That's just ridiculous, isn't it?
I mean, though, what would you take, though? Would you take their view? I mean, I'm looking out my window now, and it's, you know, it's street lights and a little mini shop at the end of the road.
$82.
Adam, I've seen what views you get there in New Zealand, and I think I might trade views and take the markup in exchange for...
Nah.
No? Okay, fine.
There's some good stuff in Scotland.
That's very true. Scotland is better. Just it's better and it's closer.
Oliver.
Mark O'Brien says, Wolf hasn't said anything all stream.
Wait, didn't you say... Sorry, just I've got to correct a factual inaccuracy here.
I'll be here all night if you try doing that.
John, you said 82. It's 82 New Zealand dollars, which you said was about 70 quid, which is not true. It's £38.79. So, I mean, it's still a markup. So it's still £6 for the Knights of Arnor. You're paying.
No, not the Knights, the foot guys.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, I got confused there. But it's $82 New Zealand.
Who fact checks the fact checkers? That's the problem.
Yeah. Well,
this is the problem with you lunatics in reform. You know, you come on TV, spout your nonsense. You don't do any of the research. You need to get your facts straight if you're going to come on Question Time.
You can check that yourself when you go home. It's 82 New Zealand dollars, which is £38.79, which, granted, is £6.79 more than it is in the UK. Although I'm not paying shipping, of course. So that may well be what makes it ridiculously expensive, which it clearly is. So, but I used to send. I haven't done in a while. Jeremy from the Green Dragon podcast in Australia. Him and I used to have a regular thing where I just buy stuff here from Forge World and ship it over to him, and it was way cheaper than him buying it himself.
That's
crazy.
That is crazy. Nathan says Alex just needs to start fighting for the bad guys and be able to pay to be able to buy us all the models. Presumably, as in doing defendant law instead. Oh God, I mean, it would be. One of my colleagues left our firm and they now work as a newly qualified lawyer at another firm, and their starting wage as a newly qualified lawyer is £160,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah. Fucked.
That's a lot.
It's fucked. I mean, good on them, sort of. I'm also dying with jealousy. Mr. Darcy says, "Oh wow, this is so educational. Thanks." I doubt that very much.
I think that was a comment about the shillings, and if that's the case, you're welcome, Mr. Darcy.
That's a good point. That one specific bit, Wikipedia.
Hey, I
really
introduced the Emma Thompson fact earlier as well. I'm full of these things.
That's true. Wargames Diary said, "I paid £500 to go to MWESBG."
What is MWESBG?
I just paid £500 £500 to go MWESBG. Okay, sorry, Wargames Diary. I might need a slight clarification on that comment. I'm not quite sure I follow. Daniel, did you ever represent someone in court who recognises you from your videos? Thank God that hasn't happened yet. That prospect terrifies me. That or a judge recognising me from one of the videos. So the closest I've gotten is I had a client who wanted to. I can't remember how it happened. But they ended up sending me a link to their Instagram. It was something to do with something. Their case was something to do with something they'd posted. And it had loads of Warhammer on it, loads of like MESBG and other stuff. I was like, okay, right, at least we can bond over this mutual love. But I've never had someone be like, you. Although we were at Warhammer Worlds the other week, and this is the first time this has ever happened. We just finished, and obviously it's at Warhammer World, so a massively skewed demographic. But we just finished lunch, got up, and someone came up and was like, "Oh, you're Battle Camper. Can I have a selfie, please?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, you can." It was made me feel very, very special. That's why this week my head is like twice the size it was last week.
Just
Yeah,
look at war game shows. That's like the demographic you want.
Yeah. Well, I've signed books before
Have
at
you?
Games Workshop Warhammer events, though. So
What book did you sign?
my own Entmoot book.
You don't have
They
an
had a-
Entmoot book.
I do. It's a notepad that patrons get.
Oh,
And it
the
wasn't-
Entmoot
sure it wasn't
notepad
addressed,
that I
man.
stole off you and just put my own logo on. Yeah, that one.
Yes, that exactly that one. Yes, which I believe was from a very generic printing site. Anyway, but
I think what I did is search cheap notepad. It
yes.
was the top
no,
result.
cheap personalized. No,
Personalized notepad is like the top one. Yeah, fair play.
How can I just criticize Grimdork Future? Who says Harry's so knowledgeable when he has access to Google. That's true. I did clarify the fact, but about the shilling, but I did know a vague outline to the fact.
True.
So, yeah.
He was aware of the continent in
Well,
which
you knew
those
that one
existed.
country in the world used them. Well done.
I think that's pretty good. Not many other people would know that. You didn't know. You were all shocked when I revealed the truth.
This historical revisionism you have, it's a
You were
bold
like,
thing to do
wow,
when it's on
that's
screen.
You just live in a
Amazing. I can't
fantasy
believe-
land. Is that why Rings of Power makes sense to you?
Oh Christ, we're not right.
All ships lead back to Rings of Power, don't they?
Well, or you can jump
all
off the ship
ships.
and swim across the ocean, and you get back to Rings of Power.
Oh, it's very good.
Harry reinforces
So
his
on
reform views with there's definitely some African country that uses shillings. I picked up on that as well. He's like, there's one of these, or you know, they come over here, they haven't even got the pound yet. They've got barely any internet. You ask them if they got Netflix, they've not seen fucking Lion King or whatever it is, Tiger King.
Using a 3-year-old reference to reinforce your joke.
It's the best I've got. I also need to keep it slightly down because I'm pretty sure my next door neighbour is a reform voter. So
Oh, right. Well, don't we all have one? That's fine.
he did come out into his garden and said some quite racist things. War Games Diary said he was actually just referring to the MSBG pre-order. So he spent £500 on the MSBG pre-order. What did you get? That's interesting. I'd like to know what you got for that because that is
£500. That is a lot of money.
respect. Ben W says £160,000 is a lot, but how many points per pound do you get in the job? Oh, well, I guess the problem is back in the day you'd have expected to get at least 160,000 MESBG points for that, but now who knows? It's all up in the air. And then Glenn Seymour just says vlogging and gives us 2 thumbs up, and that's it. We've reached into the comments.
I think what a great way to end. Vlogging.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, you guys, on the upcoming releases and what we think? Let's very briefly. Are we going to see the Rohan hero counterpart next week, do we think? And if so, do we think it's going to be whatever her face is?
Hera.
I
think probably, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can't see why not. I am quite interested to see the model there because there's been a lot of talk of her wearing strange clothing. And frankly, in the video, it's all like, she seems to be wearing very long boots and all this and I can't quite put my finger on what is armor and what is just leather riding boots and things like that. So,
but I thought it was really
really
easy to translate cartoons over to figures. I thought there's no interpretation at all required, is there? It's my understanding.
No.
Are you saying that they're going to have to? He's like, look at the smile on his face. You've conceded it with your expression.
What I'm saying is, it's the shots of her are so brief that I can't interpret them. Whereas they have, of course, seen more than the trailer in order to sculpt the miniature. So I'm intrigued at what they have seen and therefore can provide more detail on.
On this trailer, let's go to her. Let's see what's going on.
What are we doing?
Sorry, you won't want to see it yet. We're going back to Hera in the trailer. See which
Oh,
one's
right.
Pretty rare. That dress is very sort of
yeah, that's fine, isn't it?
That's
That's
Helm's
obvious,
Deep kind of thing. I think I know which shot you're talking about. It's when she's running.
There's a kind of weird running shot, and I'm.
No! Oh, there it is! What a fantastic frame! I think we should feel like we should just sort of leave it on that frame for a bit. So I think that's excellent. I love the fact that Helm Hammerhand punched him so hard he fully leaves the floor and does a little flip.
Absolutely.
Imagine being able to punch that guy that far.
It's impressive. It's a feat. For sure.
It is good, yeah.
Here we go. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very sort of anime interpretation of the kind of clothes that you'd expect they might wear. I can see like long boots, short shorts. I mean, that's got look at that. If you look at the picture, if you when you get there, I know you guys won't have seen it yet, but the frame on at the moment is mounted Hera, and I must admit that's awesome. That's really really cool. It's this sort of regal horse. It's got this fancy barding on. She's got a shield on one arm, but she's otherwise just wearing a gown, like a sort of fancy dress.
She can play the horn as well.
Sorry.
She can play the horn as well, apparently.
Oh, there you go.
It's not that hard to blow in a horn.
Oh, let's.
Done.
Harry's an expert at blowing. So I think that would be an ace model. I think that'd be a really cool mounted model for her.
Yes. Yes. The shot of her, it's just I'm not clear of. It looks to me like she's wearing very little armor, and it's more like leather riding clothes. So I'd imagine her to be a very low defense hero. But I'm very intrigued to see what happens.
Yeah, we've got a shot here. I mean, this makes sense for them being in the box together. We've got a shot of them actually clashing swords on horseback here. Wolf and Hera sort of going sword to sword. I think it was briefly flashed in the trailer. So I reckon we might get Hera next week or in a few weeks. And that would be an awesome box set. Again, if she's like that, I think that kind of mounted miniature where she's sort of not dressed for battle, but in sort of a gown, I think would be cool.
Well, it'll be a bit reminiscent. I think I'd be inclined to think they will probably do a more actiony armored one because otherwise it's just that whole. If it's a woman, they've got to be wearing a dress, and I suspect they will go a bit more kind of. She's a warrior lady rather than a sort of, she's riding a horse and she's she's wearing a dress kind of vibe. I mean, that might be a bit sort of, I don't know, a bit more stereotypical. I don't know. But
it's also really situational, I guess. Like, it'd be like making the Defenders of Helm's Deep Eowyn the only Eowyn we get.
Yes.
Which is it's a really fantastic model and a lovely one to have in certain scenarios, but it's not the one you want for like general use where you want to be armored. Definitely take that point. Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm getting shouted at. So.
All right. Yeah, we'll head off. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the stream. And oh no, sorry. Haley just said had to turn up the volume to 60 to hear you, and then the surprise trailer came on, and now Harry is hurt. I'm so sorry about that, guys. This was a really, really shoddy, technologically discharged stream. I'm very, very sorry indeed that it came out so fucking wank. Speaking of discharge, we'll do better in future, and it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it, so thank you very much, guys.
Good. I look forward to talking to all of you about the next 4 episodes of Rings of Power. I've really enjoyed the first one. It was fantastic. Everyone shouldn't listen to John. He is completely wrong, and he's just being a Debbie Downer for no reason.
Absolutely shit.
All right. See you,
Garbage.
Cheers, guys.